Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Kartika,
Hare, Hare
I want all devotees inside, even Prashant takers to take behind. Everybody is scattered. I will not stop listening to everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Haribol.
Rama,
Everybody has started, so everybody can say. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hari Radha Krishna Diri Dadi Radha Vika Diri Dadi Gaurari Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Madhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guravo Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanatamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hariki Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you for this most awaited and long awaited leaders meet. In our Bhakti Center, we have been doing a lot of programs and a lot of expansion, and many things are happening. And it is a very, very important thing that the leaders actually come together. And if leaders are united, so then the whole of the congregation can be stopped actually. So then the whole of the congregation can also be united. I think everybody are united in their, they're doing their job. So anyways, so here now before starting this leaders meet, so all of us are here for a common cause, all of us are working together. And we are trying to work in different areas in different locations, and for a common cause, for getting something achieved. So more we discuss about this common cause, so more we will be able to be in sync, and we will be able to do the right thing, out there. So some of the things that we always discussed is that we are trying to be a preacher. A preacher means it's like a salesman whose product is Krishna consciousness or Krishna Bhakti. So if we don't have Krishna Bhakti ourselves, we will not be able to distribute. So that's the first criteria. So to have no Krishna Bhakti for no ourselves. So if we have Krishna, so then we will be able to distribute Krishna. So then how we will be able to do that? So by the way of having solid nourishing programs, and by the one time one devotee asked this thing how to do our sadhana, to Banu Maharaj. And Banu Maharaj was like, no, it depends. Like, okay, Maharaj, like how we should do our sadhana. So he told, it depends. So then the devotee asked more specifically, how many hours of reading, how many hours of hearing, and things like that. So then finally he told, sadhana means the effective remembrance of Krishna. Like how effectively you can remember Krishna. So if you are in Krishna consciousness, your sadhana is good. Somebody is telling, Prabhu, I am reading for 4 hours, but I am so disturbed. Matlab, if the sadhana is not going good. The effect of sadhana is that he should be Krishna conscious. He should be able to see Krishna in the various aspects that he is doing in his practical life, in the difficulties, in his work, in his, like everywhere, he should be able to perceive Krishna. That means his sadhana of chanting, reading and hearing and doing services is going proper. So then we get this thing. Another one aspect we had discussed is that like sometimes devotees feel burnt out. So why do they feel burnt out? And like I saw in the morning, it's a new team. They're actually the leads in the cooking were not there. So new team started cooking today, and they started with Narsimha Arti. Cooking. May Lord Narsimha protect the cooking. So so it may not get burnt out. So why will cooking this one, a dish gets burnt out? So because of lack of water, In the same way, lack of Krishna consciousness, lack of having means we are not able to see Krishna in various aspects of our life. So then when we engage in service, we will get burnt out. But if we are able to see the hand of Krishna, so then we will not be burnt out. Rather, the service will inspire us, and it will nourish us, and it will actually give us more impetus to go more further in Krishna consciousness. So, like the sadhana, that is effective remembrance of Krishna, is very, very essential. And for that, the basic things that we are doing, many times devotees think that we should do something out of the box. What is there in the box? In the box is Mangalarti morning program, chanting, Bhagavatam class, Tulsi Arti and Narsimha Arti and all those things. And we have to do something out of the box. So, Prabhu, like, kya karna chahiye? Like, I want to become more serious in Krishna consciousness. Do you attend Mangalarti? Do you chant your rounds nicely? That is all normal, Prabhu. Like, tell something. Tell something like, out of the box. So, one very important thing is that we have to focus on our basics, and these, we call it as basics, but actually this is PhD, to come to the point of what is that, Vasudeva Sarvamati Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, and also Yatatam Api Siddhanam, what is that shloka? Manushyanam Sahishreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye. That means out of many, many thousands of people, one person may attain Siddhi. Siddhi means to come to the platform of Brahman realization. And Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschit Mam Veti Tatvata. Out of many, many liberated souls, like one person may actually become a devotee of Krishna who understands Krishna. And once he understands, like Iti Matva Bhajante Mam. So when he understands Krishna in proper, then what he does, he engages in bhajan. He engages in like glorifying the Lord. He engages in offering arati to the Lord. He engages in chanting the names of the Lord and preaching the glories of the Lord. Everything in connection with the Lord. So that means this is a very, very serious subject, to be like always engaged in the service of the Lord. And the solid morning program means just this thing, Kaschit Mam Veti Tatvata. Very, very few people. Even amongst devotee community, very few people will be able to come to the platform of morning program. So we call it as basics, but actually it is PhD. It is the most important thing. So when we do this thing properly, So when we give importance to all the aratis that we have and all the procedures that we have, like the chanting the names of the Lord and all the different arati songs that we have, it becomes so very powerful. We will become Krishna conscious. We will be able to perceive Krishna in various dealings of our life, right? So when we do this thing, then we are qualified to be preachers. Then we can, go and give Krishna consciousness to others, having a strict adherence to the morning program. So this is one aspect, like having a strict sadhana. And then, like if we see the definition of bhakti, it says Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So in this one, it is very important. Anushilanam. How do we render service to Krishna? Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So now we are sitting here to discuss about the vision of our ISKCON Whitefield. So this vision should be like taken from our superiors, our previous great personalities, our authorities. So that is where like our lifeline is. So we are servants of Krishna. We are trying to render service to Krishna. And this one important thing for a servant is to get a bona fide service. What is a bona fide service? What the Lord wants or what the Master wants. That is the bona fide service. So when we get the bona fide service, we get the link, we get the connection to the Supreme Lord, and we will be able to, when we render that service, we will get purification, we will get closeness to the Lord, we will attend the lotus feet of the Lord. All these things can happen if we can get the bona fide service. So we have a small audio. I'll just give the precursor to this audio or the background of this audio. So this is during the Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. You all might have heard this video in last few years. We have been playing that Making Bangalore Krishna Conscious City. Maharaj is the GBC and in charge of this area, and he has a vision for this place. How this place should actually come up. And later on, when I was discussing with some senior devotees, they were mentioning that when in Bangalore there was nothing was there, only Hare Krishna Hill property was acquired, and still the building was not built, only a thatched hut was there. Even since then, Maharaj has been speaking about this particular thing, making Bangalore a Krishna conscious city. It's like maybe good 20-25 years back. And then later on, in many different occasions also he has spoken. And in our temple inauguration, Narsimha Giridhari Mandir inauguration, there also he spoke about it. And then later on, this particular thing which we are going to play now is a 13-minute audio which Maharaj had sent when two temples SNGM and the ICC temple, like South Bangalore temple and our Narsimha Giridhari temple, wanted to work together to achieve this goal of making Bangalore Krishna conscious city. And Maharaj is explaining how practically this can be done. So this is a very nice, crisp 13-minute audio. We will hear that and then we will have a small discussion. And this is our vision. This is how we derive whatever we have been talking about. It's not something cooked up by us. It is something that we are getting from the top. So we will understand, lucky that we are in Kali Yuga, that we have recorded audio. So our intelligence is so bad. We have to again and again hear, the statements that is given to us. And then, we can actually realign and refocus on what we are, why we are here and what we are supposed to do. And this gives us the bona fide service for all of us. And by engaging in this service, not here everybody are disciples of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, but one thing which I heard from Gopal Krishna Maharaj, once Gopal Krishna Maharaj had come here, and one of the disciples of Maharaj went to him and asked, Maharaj, how can I serve you? So then he told, see, here is the temple president, whatever he says, if you do, it will be pleasing to me. Right? So we can be rest assured that just by following or just by implementing this particular vision that Maharaj has for this locality, all our spiritual masters, various spiritual masters will be pleased, right? So this is how we can actually please the parampara. So now we will hear this audio message. You can share the word screen also and play the audio.
So the assembled Vaishnavas
To the assembled Vaishnavas,
all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
The idea of 2020,
The idea of 2020,
take a bold step to make Bangalore the first Krishna conscious city.
to take a bold step to make Bangalore the first Krishna conscious city,
It's not just a sentiment.
is not just a sentiment.
If we look at the history,
If we look at the history,
we see how Lord Krishna and Balaram, they came from Dwarka to Karnataka to Udupi.
we see how Krishna and Balaram, they came from Karnataka to Udupi,
Dwarka,
from Dwarka to Udupi,
and where they were worshipped by Madhva Acharya.
where they were worshipped by Madhvacharya.
Lord Chaitanya accepted his initiation in the line of Madhva Acharya.
Lord Chaitanya accepted his initiation in the line of Madhvacharya,
Following Madhavendra Puri and Ishwar Puri.
following Madhavendra Puri and Ishwar Puri.
Karnataka was the home of the emperor of the latest emperor,
Karnataka was the home of the latest emperor,
the Vijayanagara king,
the Vijayanagar king,
Krishna Deva Rai,
Krishna Deva Rai.
and we see that the people in Bangalore
And we see that the people in Bangalore
are generally either very pious
are generally either very pious
or they are intelligent.
or they are intelligent.
And you can probably find out other qualities.
And we can probably find out other qualities.
But for the pious, where Krishna is worshipped in Udupi,
But for the pious, where Krishna is worshipped in Udupi,
we can directly preach how they should do devotional service
we can directly preach how they can do devotional service or bhakti
to Lord Krishna.
to Lord Krishna.
And when they are not so pious but they're intelligent,
And where they are not so pious but are intelligent,
we can convince them how Bhakti Yoga,
we can convince them how bhakti yoga,
how serving Krishna
how serving Krishna
is the most effective, intelligent thing to do.
is the most effective, intelligent thing to do.
My vision was that by 2020 we should have 1,000 bhakti vrikshas.
My vision was that by 2020 we should have 1,000 bhakti vrikshas.
Now you're saying 10,000.
Now you're saying 10,000.
I don't have any objection, but I want to keep a number which is more accessible.
I don't have any objection, but I want to keep a number that is more accessible
So that you can actually try to achieve that.
so that you can actually try to achieve that.
2020 would be the first step,
2020 would be the first step,
and there'll be a number of steps
and there would be a number of steps
which will be revealed after the first step.
which would be revealed after the first step.
Here we are that Shankaracharya, he meditated
Here we heard that Shankaracharya, he meditated
and did tapasya so that his message would be spread all over India.
and did tapasya so that his message would be spread all over India.
So in Karnataka, in Bangalore, if we can establish progress in our Krishna consciousness,
So in Karnataka, in Bangalore, if we can establish progress in our Krishna consciousness,
that will have a strong effect all over India.
that would have a strong effect all over India.
Also, Hanuman, when he was carrying the mountain with the Sanjeevani orb,
Also, when Hanuman was carrying the mountain with the Sanjeevani herb,
a portion fell off in Karnataka.
a portion fell off in Karnataka.
There are many ancient temples and ancient things in Karnataka.
There are many ancient temples and ancient things in Karnataka.
When Tamil Nadu was not favorable to Ramanujacharya,
When Tamil Nadu was not favorable to Ramanujacharya,
he took shelter in Karnataka.
he took shelter in Karnataka.
So Kannamangala has the possibility of great progress.
So Karnataka has the possibility of great progress.
Bangalore, its capital city, is the head of that.
And Bangalore, its capital city, is the head of that.
We're very pleased that now two temples are working together.
We're very pleased that now two temples are working together
To achieve the goal of 2020.
to achieve the goal of 2020.
Each temple has its own identity,
Each temple has its own identity,
its own way of doing things,
its own way of doing things,
but they are cooperating for the common achievement
but they're cooperating for the common achievement
of 2020.
of 2020.
This is certainly very pleasing to Prabhupada and previous acharyas,
This is certainly very pleasing to Prabhupada and the previous acharyas,
very pleasing to Lord Krishna.
very pleasing to Lord Krishna.
Working together has much more, it's more difficult than being alone.
Working together is more difficult than being alone.
That's why when one works together with other Vaishnavas,
But that's why, when one works together with other Vaishnavas,
that Lord Krishna is more pleased,
then Lord Krishna is more pleased,
because he knows that they are doing this to please me.
because he knows that they are doing this to please me.
Now is the beginning of the 10,000 golden years.
Now is the beginning of the 10,000 golden years.
Now we should bring in this era of positive spirituality.
Now we should bring in this era of positive spirituality.
No excuses, no wait.
No excuses, no waits.
And with a very positive, friendly service attitude,
And with a very positive, friendly service attitude,
we should be able to touch the heart of everyone.
we should be able to touch the heart of everyone.
Just when I tell the nurses, the doctors that are in the hospital that have agreed to chant japa,
This is what I tell the doctors and nurses in the hospital when I tell them to chant japa.
when I tell the nurses or doctors in the hospital who have agreed to chant japa,
When I tell the doctors and nurses in the hospital who have agreed to chant japa
that I pray for you every day,
that I pray for you every day,
they smile
they smile
because they appreciate that someone cares about them.
because they appreciate that someone cares about them.
When you have your congregations and devotees caring about how to make others leave this entanglement of the material world.
When you have your congregation and devotees care about how to help people leave the entanglement of this material world,
It will naturally be very, very pleasing to others.
it will naturally be very, very pleasing to others.
Sometimes a simple question, what type of birth do you want in your next life?
Sometimes a simple question, what type of birth do you want in your next life?
And people never think like that.
And people, they never think like that.
And then they say, I don't want another life.
And then they say, I don't want another life.
Then you should chant Hare Krishna.
Then you should chant Hare Krishna.
Imagine Prabhupada went to the West, where everybody was, when he went, all were Christians, Muslims, atheists.
Imagine when Prabhupada went to the West, all were Christians, Muslims, atheists.
And somehow he got them to chant Hare Krishna.
And somehow he got them to chant Hare Krishna.
Now we're preaching in India in a very pious place.
Now we're preaching in India, a very pious place.
No, in India, in a very pious place.
In India, in a very pious place.
If we can work together to achieve this goal, we'll have Kali fleeing,
If we work together to achieve this goal, we'll have Kali fleeing.
So I do thank you all for assembling together and agreeing to work together.
So I do thank you all for assembling together and agreeing to work together.
And I hear that you also come to participate in each other's festivals.
And I also heard that you'll come to participate in each other's festivals
With the objective of achieving the 2020 goals.
with the objective of achieving the 2020 goals.
All glories to your service.
All glories to your service.
All glories to Lord Chaitanya.
All glories to Lord Chaitanya.
All glories to Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
A long one, huh?
Hare Krishna. This was the Shatavat Swami Maharaj ki Jai. So, in this, it's a very, very condensed and very amazing message that His Holiness Shatavat Maharaj gives in the aspect of making Bangalore Krishna conscious city. So, in this statement, as I was just before mentioning, that when we are talking about vision, when we are talking about what we are supposed to do, we should get it from our superiors, and when we get it from our superiors in an unbroken chain, so then that becomes a bona fide service, and a servant requires a bona fide service. So it is worth discussing this particular vision. So now we see that first thing that Maharaj told, that the making Bangalore Krishna conscious city is not a sentiment. It is something that it is very serious about, right? So we have to practice that, or we have to take that goal very seriously. And then he was mentioning about how Karnataka is a pious place. So where Krishna Balram came to Udupi. So later on I researched, it is like the deities of Krishna Balram, who actually came in this one, and Madhvacharya worshipped those deities. And then Madhvacharya took, like Lord Chaitanya took initiation in Madhvacharya's line, and then latest Vaishnava emperor. So this Krishna Deva Raya is the latest Vaishnava emperor, and because of which the Krishna conscious culture is still there, in Karnataka. And portions of Sanjeevani's, Hanuman Sanjeevani mountain, so like that herb also fell in this area. And then ancient temples are there in Karnataka. So with these statements, Maharaj is trying to establish that it is a very pious place. This place is a very pious place. And then he was mentioning about for the pious people, we can directly talk about Krishna consciousness, how to engage in devotional service. And for intelligent people, we can convince them, how by engaging in Krishna consciousness, this is the most intelligent thing to do. And then he was talking about the vision of 2020. So this message was given in 2015, and like by then, like in 2020, so the goal was to achieve 1,000 Bhakti Vrikshas, but we are nowhere close to that. Probably 200 or 250 max. We will be there in Bangalore. So it is actually a thing that in 2010 or somewhere in that, you remember, Prabhu, when our Ravindra Nitai Prabhu made the first 100 Bhakti Vrikshas? 2010 or 2011. And we are 12, 13 years later. So we are not much, we have progressed. And what is the reason for that? So it's a very important thing to analyze. So we have a very nice vision of making Bangalore Krishna conscious city, preaching and expansion and things like that. But we should also analyze the history a little bit. Why and what is the problem that we are not able to go beyond a particular point? In many cases I have seen, in many different, like I was there part of Jagannath Mandir when that was the only temple. So then we moved to Narsimha Giridhari Mandir, so where we built the temple and things like that. And now we are then I started this Whitefield area, and now many other devotees are preaching and starting centers. So now what is the history is that everywhere 0 to 40, 50 Bhakti Vrikshas is something that everybody does. But after that, it doesn't grow. So can anybody say what is the reason? After that, sometimes it doesn't grow or sometimes it just goes down. Any reason you know? Leaders? Cultivation of leaders is not there on point. Huh? What is it? Vaishnava Aparadh. Okay. Any other point? Yes? Beyond this point, nice cooperation becomes difficult. So it is more the number of people, more complex the congregation is. So every person is a complicated entity. Until unless we become pure devotee, so we cannot display all the Vaishnava qualities in consistent. And naturally we will have some differences, and naturally there will be a lot of conflicts and things like that, right? So how to avoid that? So that is, if you have carefully observed this whole talk, so Maharaj is again and again telling about, he first appreciated that you all coming together, it's a great thing, and doing alone is something easy, but coming together is very, very difficult. And then later on also he appreciates, thank you very much for coming together and doing something. So he 2-3 times he actually mentions this particular point. So it is very, very essential that we stay together, as a congregation. And what it translates to, what it means to stay together. Any few pointers, what it means to stay together? Tolerating. Huh? Common goal. Actually, when our boys get married, so we give a small session to them. And the main theme of the session is that, see, you are getting married and you should not be like monkey, giving up and divorcing and things like that and all. You should not do that. You should, if you take a responsibility, you should stand by it throughout your life. And only thing that you need for doing that is tolerance. Don't expect anything. Have zero expectation and just tolerate whatever comes by the will of Krishna. Right? How many of you agree to that? Right? So Prabhu and Mataji equally agree on this point. So the very same thing applies in the congregation also. Who becomes a devotee, we don't know. And especially, actually speaking, who becomes a devotee, we know. One devotee was mentioning, whatever weak point are there, just to test that weak point, Krishna will send a devotee in our life. And he will be there right next to us. He'll be working very close to us. So he will test all the parameters, stress test, durability test, all the tests. He will do all the tests actually. So if you are having somebody in your life like that, don't worry, it's Krishna's plan. That is the thing it takes for us to go back to Godhead. So, and we have to tolerate. So the tolerance is a very, very important principle. So without which we cannot stay together as a community. we cannot expect like I want like this. No, I want my members to be like this. I want my leaders to be like this. I want my peers and other friends to be like this. No, like it is Krishna's wish. No, we may or may not get what we want. No, but if we stay together, something that is very wonderful, no, that can happen. So I'll just read few other summarization of this. So Maharaj was mentioning that this 2020 was the first step and many other steps, and each step will reveal itself after the first step. So he was mentioning about that. So we are not there in the first step only, like 1000 Bhakti Vrikshas, we are nowhere close to that. And then mission of spreading from Karnataka, mission of Krishna consciousness spreading from Karnataka. He was mentioning that Shankaracharya did tapasya here to spread his Siddhanta all over India. And then, like when Ramanujacharya had a difficulty, in Tamil Nadu, he came to Karnataka, and from here he made his base, and then he also spread throughout India. And in this way, like he was mentioning, thus Karnataka has the great possibility to progress, and Bangalore is the capital city, and so it is the head of that. And then he was mentioning about working together is more difficult, and Krishna is more pleased. Why Krishna is more pleased? Because we are tolerating each other, coming together for pleasing the Supreme Lord. So because of that, Krishna is very, very pleased. So if somebody asks, like, which is the most important sadhana, where like if we do, Krishna will become very pleased and we'll go back to Godhead. So like somebody may say chanting or reading or hearing and things like that, or preaching. But important thing is, if you can just stay together in a community, you will go back to Godhead. Krishna will say, like, he'll clap his hands and say, the proof is what? Like Prachatas, they performed tapasya. They chanted a very wonderful song given by Lord Shiva. Very amazing chant. They chanted like for 10,000 years continuous, not like 16 rounds, that too sleeping and dozing and chanting, and things like that. So they were doing it full attentive for 10,000 years continuous, non-stop, right? Not even taking water, eating anything, nothing. Like they were inside the water, still they didn't drink water. So that was their condition. And they did tapasya underwater. All these things were there. But when Krishna came, he told that I am giving you mercy because you stayed together. So this is the proof. If we just stay together in the community, we are going back to Godhead. Krishna is going to be very pleased. So that is the key actually, right? And then Maharaj was telling about this one, unity and diversity. Each temple has its own way of working, but working together for a common mission is a very nice thing. So everybody have their own flavor. At the same time, everybody come together for a common cause, right? So this is also very important thing. This is very pleasing to the previous acharyas. This is very pleasing to Lord Krishna. And then he was mentioning about now is the beginning of 10,000 golden years, and we should bring in this era of positive spirituality. So it's like when the pitch is favorable, like when in the cricket and all, I don't know, like devotees don't see cricket, but still, the previous vasanas may be there. So when the pitch is favorable, when the toss is won, everybody would take batting. Why? Because the pitch is favorable, you can actually score. So now preaching will flourish. Anybody, any Tom, Dick and Harry can start a program and it will flourish. Before we had our leader, Srivas Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, he used to tell that, you put anybody, any devotee in some place and ask him to preach, he will get 10 people. So getting more people may be difficult, but at least 10 people he'll get. Any preacher if you put. So why? Because the pitch is very favorable. This is the time when Lord Chaitanya's 10,000 years of golden era is starting, and this is like the most favorable time for preaching the Krishna consciousness. And then Maharaj was telling no excuses, no waits, with the positive friendly service attitude. Like this is the thing he was highlighting, the positive friendly service attitude. We should try to preach this Krishna consciousness, and we should be able to touch everyone's heart. And he gave some practical examples of how to touch people's heart. So he was telling that how when the doctors and nurses, when they treat, like when they agree to chant, so he tells that, I pray for you every day. So then they become very touched in that way. And then he was mentioning that if we help, if the congregation, if all of us think about how to help the suffering people, naturally people will become very much attached to us. They will become very pleased with our service. And then he was telling that even when you meet people, you can ask very, very simple question: what kind of birth you want in the next life? So people would have not thought about this kind of things. So this is very nice caring way we can actually deal with the people, and we can actually touch their hearts. And then Maharaj told one nice thing, that Srila Prabhupada went to West where there was no Hindus were there, and he made them chant. And we are there in India where it's a very pious place and so much of favorable environment is there. So preaching here, it should be possible. So it is, we are not doing such big thing as what Prabhupada did. And then he told, if we work together, Kali will flee. So like in Parikshit Maharaj's time, like to drive away Kali, like the 4 things were supposed to not be there, like 4 regulative principles that we follow. So it's like a more concise sutra is that if you can stay together, Kali will flee. That is more powerful sutra here. And then this is what we heard in the session. And there is other known predictions that Maharaj had spoken about in different times. Is Maharaj wanted 100 centers in Bangalore. And then he also gave, one time he gave a vision of 10 temples should be there and 10 Bhakti centers should be connected to each of these temples. So that also one of the vision. And 1,000 Bhakti Vrikshas, by the time of 2020 that we couldn't able to do. So that was the reason also we discussed. It's because of lack of unity amongst the Vaishnavas. So here we are trying to see that like how we can stay together and how we can actually cooperate and try to work towards this particular goal. And the key takeaways are cooperative spirit, many Bhakti centers should sprout, and then we have our simple model, that is we do Janmashtami and then we do Gita course and then we do Bhakti Vriksha, and after Bhakti Vriksha what comes? Bhakti center. So after Bhakti Vriksha, Bhakti center comes, right? So and another important aspect is caring for the devotees whom we make. The spiritual care like nourishing programs, and then programs like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and also like many other spiritual programs that are there. And other aspect is other care, like overall care of the soul that we are bringing in. Like today we are going to have a seminar on financial planning. So that's going to be a very practical seminar for all of us. So why financial planning is needed? Why we have to discuss this? Why it is important? So that we save money and quit the job. So that is the reason. So otherwise there is no point in financial planning in in Bhakti Center. Why should we discuss about that? Right? So financial planning, then children's education or children's growth in Krishna consciousness, homeschooling and things like that, health, legal aspects and other things. So why we discuss other aspects? Because once Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, like who is also guiding our community very closely, so he had given a vision that he mentioned that these aspects, health, legal, and many different relationship aspects and all these things have to be discussed in the leaders meeting. So then I asked Maharaj, why do we have to discuss all these things? We have to discuss Krishna Katha. So then he told that leaders think that once they become Bhakti Vriksha leader, they think that they know everything in the whole universe, and they start guiding the people, in every aspect of the life. Like, why are you going to psychiatrist? No, I'll guide. Why? Why do you want any financial help? No financial guidance. I will help. No legal matter. Some problem is there? No, come to me. I'm the best lawyer in the whole world. I'll help. So for getting leaders to a practical sense, that you cannot help in these aspects. There are experts in these aspects, and you have to guide people to go to the experts. We have to discuss these subjects here. So those things also we will be doing. And then just to conclude, in essence, we discussed about working cooperatively, then expanding the preaching, and caring for the devotees, so whom we make. So this is the essence of key points, which I could think of as the vision for our community. So any few questions, 1 or 2 questions. Already we are half an hour late today, so we'll try to catch up, in the later program. So any questions in this vision? So we can just take 1 or 2 questions or some reflections. Sudhir Gopalpu, we want to add things. Mandu Madhapu? Yes, please. You had a question. grow.
expand. So that means because it comes bigger, the organization more complete. So what can we do for if the complication is there? Means
Yeah, how to avoid this thing? So today morning I was discussing with Sri Gaur over the same point that how do we actually get this solve this particular problem? Is that if we see right from the beginning, what we actually focus and glorify, that is what will grow. So right from the beginning, if we glorify a person, because he distributed some books, oh, you distributed 100 books, very nice, and of course we should glorify this. And then like you did some big service, wherein like you brought so many people, or you did something major. So we always glorify the results. But if we choose to glorify as sacrifice for the sake of cooperation, right? So then that becomes the value of the community. If somebody says like, okay, like these two people have to go out for book distribution, so I will cook. I will cook for them. So I'll sacrifice my time. So because if they have to go, then somebody has to be there like supplying prasadam. So if they're going full day out, so I'll not care about my score, but I will help these people. So then such thing has to be glorified. Such thing has to be brought into light, because this is what we want. This is what we want as the value of this particular community. So last few times I was just mentioning this particular thing, that just as chanting is very, very powerful. So if we avoid offenses and if we chant, we will make tremendous progress. In the same way, devotees are very, very powerful. They will do tremendous things. But only thing is, we just need to mitigate the misunderstanding between devotees. That's all. Big things will happen. We don't need to even plan big things. If we can just somehow or other stay together, big things will happen. So that is the ultimate thing. So we have to find this particular quality, and we have to keep this quality as the primary thing, because we have seen many expert preachers in the past. Like they made many good progress, and it stagnated or either it fell. And like many people have gone to the heights that we have come up to, and even more than what we have done. Like many people in Bangalore have did before us, right from Hare Krishna Hill. Like it was a big sensation in all over the world when Hare Krishna Hill actually when they boomed their preaching. Even now in any city of the world you go, like if you tell like I'm coming from Bangalore, oh, that Hare Krishna temple is there. It's so famous, it's so powerful. Like they've made big propaganda. But where are they? Like they don't have any congregation now. So they have hardly like maybe some 200, 300 congregation all over Bangalore if you put together. So much lesser than one center actually. So that is how much congregation they have. So where it went? It is all because of this one particular aspect. So we are not able to stay together. So we have to keep this as the primary thing. Anytime any problem happens, this is our sutra. Come what may, I have to stay together. And if it is a problem, so then I'll go and approach my seniors, and the goal is that somehow or other we have to stay together. Maybe for temporarily we have to maintain some distance. We will not be able to work so close and work next to next. Okay, let's maintain a distance, but let's stay together, right? So that's a very, very important principle. Right? Madhu, you want to share something? Next. Okay, so we will close the session here, and in these lines we will have many agendas are there today to discuss. So we will call upon the next devotees, that expansion of preaching, right? So here I'll just pause my session here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. Want to stand and speak? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So first of all, thank you very much to all the devotees, all the leaders who have come here. We are very, very grateful that you have come here, and our center has become very fortunate by the dust of your lotus feet. Thank you very much. Also want to apologize if you have faced any inconvenience while coming here or after coming here. We are just trying to serve to the best of our best. I would like to thank His Grace Harikshetra Prabhu for giving a very nice kickstart to this leaders Sangha. He has set up the mood, and the mood is very loud and clear. These are very essentials in the life of a preacher. Many congregations all around the world, they miss this basic fundamentals, because of which, as Prabhuji said, they face a stagnation, a point beyond which they cannot progress. So, although they say history repeats itself, we want to make a new history where we want to fulfill the desires of the previous acharyas and the present acharyas. So, praying for that mercy so that we can all stay together, come together, stay together and work together. Let's all chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next topic which we have to do today is experience of starting and expanding preaching and setting up a center. How to start the preaching, if I understand, in some new area, and then how to expand that preaching, and then how to culminate that, or how to take it to the level of a center. That's what I'm supposed to speak upon. I've been given 5 minutes to speak. I will just try to stick to the Indian standard timing. 15 minutes? Okay, it was just made 15 minutes. So, preaching is all about assisting a senior preacher. That's how my so-called preaching started. I started assisting Harikshetra Prabhu in his youth preaching, in his Gita courses, and that's how I learned some essentials and fundamentals of preaching. And then, I think it was in 2018, even before that, I was exposed to public preaching programs in some apartments, such as SV Heights and other apartments which were nearby the Hope Farm region. I used to go, make mistakes, say whatever I want, discourage people from bhakti and come back. and Harikshetra Prabhu had told me that Saat Khun Maaf hai. You can discourage 7 people, not more than that. So I didn't know if I've crossed that number till now. I think the negative impact is more than the positive impact. And I'm not saying this out of etiquette or humility, this is a fact. But then SV Heights, I think Deepak Prabhu is here. Is he here, Prabhu? Yeah, Deepak Prabhu. So I just want to feel pride in this fact that all the apartments in SV Height, in all the blocks, they have a Prabhupada book in their house. So that is I'm just waiting for that day when that area or that place will explode. Like in sorry? Yeah, in Shobha also, and all the other places. So like His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj was also saying that the people preaching expands often in those areas where the previous acharyas or the previous great personalities have put their foot, there is a lot of empowerment in that area, Sukriti in that area. So the whole Bangalore, today's lecture I had never heard this, what I heard today from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, that it is his meditation that having 100 centers is not a sentiment. So I'm very, very fortunate. I want to remember that always. So 2018, when that preaching was going on in SV Heights, I think in the presence of other leaders, in the Janmashtami meeting, it was announced that Devanand Prabhu and myself, we have to do something in Kadugudi area.
some Janmashtami or something. So I think Vijay Narsim Prabhu was there, Sudhir Gopal Prabhu was there. So under the guidance of Sudhir Gopal Prabhu, Devanand Prabhu and myself, we started that 2018 Janmashtami. That Janmashtami was just stretching, and I didn't know anything. I think Devanand Prabhu was also trying to, cope up with me, and we were very fortunate to get the guidance of Sudhir Gopal Prabhu. So somehow we did that Janmashtami in a place called Sai Gardens, and that was the kickstart of preaching in this area. We focused on registering good number of contacts throughout the Janmashtami. Even before the Janmashtami, we did around 20 plus Sankirtans in various apartments. So that spread the word around, and the people started knowing us that yes, something is happening here. And after that, if I'm not wrong, we started 3 Gita courses in 2018. One in Sai Gardens, one in 10 Downing, and one in Gayatri Good Life. So Sudhir Gopal Prabhu was taking charge of the Sai Gardens Gita course, and I was taking charge of the Gayatri Good Life and 10 Downing Gita course. Apartment preaching or Gita courses in the basements or the party halls of an apartment didn't turn out very well. So that 2018 year was a little slow year in terms of output as far as preaching is concerned. But we got around 30-40 serious devotees. Some of them are sitting here also right now. In fact, most of the leaders of Kadugudi, Kannamangala region are from 2018 batch. But then the real expansion happened when we did the 2009 Janmashtami. 19 next year. 18 we did. Output was little less because people used to feel lazy to come out from their apartment and come to the party hall of the apartment. So that's how the apartment preaching flopped. In fact, if I'm not wasting anybody's time, I was really tested. Prabhuji said that there will be a person to test you. So in SV Heights, I had a student. The moment I would start the class, at that moment only they would come, and there was a glass partitioning between the swimming pool and the party hall. And in front of me, they would look at me and then jump into the swimming pool. But not come for the class. So that's how apartment preaching flops. You can't, nothing can, over a period of time, they just don't want to come. Even prasadam doesn't attract them. So apartment preaching program means it should be short 10 weeks, and after that, take the people somewhere else. So the real good expansion happened in 2019 when we when we approached Vagdevi Vilas school, and that became a neutral place where we started conducting our Gita courses. So 2019 again, we just tried to step up the outreach, the same Janmashtami model continued. We stepped up the book distribution, we stepped up the Damodar programs, the Kartik month programs, and then we tried to register more people, and in 2019 we saw a good output. In 2018 we made, I think, 3 Bhakti Rickshaws, in 2019 I think we made 5. But the output was more, we could see clearly. So that was working for us. And then after that, lockdown came, Corona came, so that also helped us in our preaching. But there are a few things which helped us to expand our preaching pre-Corona times. I just want to mention that. Of course, Gita courses is the number one flagship agenda which we had, because of which people became serious. Guidance of senior devotees, like in case of Kadugudi, we had Sudhir Gopal Prabhu, Harikshit Prabhu and others. And also there were many senior devotees already existing in that region, like Devanand Prabhu, Nilamri Mataji and others. So we used to get a lot of guidance from them. So that helped in kick-starting and launching the preaching in that area. Of course, Gita courses were running. One thing which helped the students who were coming out of these Gita courses to become serious and committed was house visits. There were many people who were not serious. I think one of the devotees, Amal Prabhu, will testify. Because house visits are very good. Even he is also now trying to visit various houses. So all the leaders who are sitting here, at least I can say and tell, because some senior leaders decided to visit their houses and spend time with them, they became serious. So that is something which has helped us. And we also, all throughout 2018, 2019, pre-COVID, post-COVID, we kept stressing on Shikshas a lot. We made it very clear to our leaders that the success of your Bhakti Rickshaw will be measured only on the number of people graduating in the Shiksha programs and the number of leaders you are producing. Leaders doesn't mean one who gives classes. Leaders means service leaders, preaching leaders, or any kind of, anybody who shows enthusiasm and accountability to do some kind of service, irrespective of what domain it belongs to. That person is a leader. So the number of leaders a Bhakti Vriksha is producing, and the number of people are progressively taking Shiksha, that is the success of a Bhakti Vriksha. So we made it very clear. So in that way, we felt that that was one of the reasons why the congregation was expanding. And of course, how can I ignore book distribution? So book distribution is something which always helped the Kadugodi congregation. It binds it together. Somehow we can say that we are very enthusiastic about book distribution. And we do it not just in the marathon, but we try to do it throughout the year. And that really helps us. It really helps us. Wherever we go, we distribute books. And then over a period of time, when a lot of around 80 to 90 families were there in this area, they all felt a need that there should be something in this area just to increase the engagement index of the people here. Because it was not very practical for them to travel on a weekly basis 14-15 kilometers to the ACS layout center. So at that point of time, we discussed with Harikshit Prabhu, and he encouraged us. So then that is the time when, I think in December 2020, in the COVID-21, and during that time only, we started, November time, we started looking for a center. This was a Goshala earlier. And then within 2 months, this was rebuilt. Some great activities have happened in those 2-3 months. There is something which I was unaware about, which I have come to know today. I would take the permission of my friend, His Grace Dhameshwar Prabhu, to tell it. Even Guru Maharaj was telling that a place needs to be empowered, then only it expands in all aspects of Krishna consciousness. So just now he told me that before we came in this area and opened up a center, he and 2 of his other friends, under the guidance of Harikshit Prabhu, would come every weekly basis near the Vishnu temple, which is close by, distribute prasadam and do Harinam Sankirtan. And he has done this for 6 months. So no wonder the center has. So no wonder the center has also chosen to manifest itself here. So whenever we see some success in preaching or something which is fulfilling the desires of the acharyas, we should know that it is definitely not our endeavor. Many people have empowered which we don't even know. So thank you to all the devotees and leaders and seniors and juniors, peers who have invested so much even before anything manifested here. It's feeling a lot of gratitude today. So that is what has helped us. That's how we started. That's how we stabilized. That's how we expanded. The essentials of expansion were Gita courses, enthusiasm, house visits, stressing on Shiksha, guidance from senior devotees, Kartik programs, book distribution, and madness to feel the need to start a new center and come out of our comfort zone. Now, the next step is what do we want to do in future? First thing is that we want to create the awareness for this center. This is also a part of our expansion in preaching. Many people don't know that an ISKCON center is here. This center is basically catering to the English-speaking class as of now. There is a wealth of people who are the vernacular, the Kannada-speaking people, Telugu-speaking people, the villagers, whom we are not able to access. So we want to start vernacular preaching. That is village preachings to some degree. We want to do that. That is our agenda in this year 2022, and we are very serious about it. We want to do it. We want all the villagers to come for Mangalarti, do the Mangalarti, whatever it takes. We'll train them and they'll go back to their villages and create the same model there. And after that, regarding spreading awareness for this center, so we have a plan. We have chalked out the list of apartments which are there in this area, starting from the Kadugodi flyover till this Kannamangala center. And we are trying to just reach the MCs of each apartment and do a OTP, one-time program in all of them. We'll just go with little Khichdi Prasad, give a short class and a long kirtan, make them dance and then distribute some cards and just tell them that there is a center here. We'll use the Janmashtami as an opportunity also to do that. We want to cover all the apartments. In fact, one of the devotees is already ready with the plan and date and everything, coordinating with the MCs. So that is what we want to do. We want to spread the awareness in all the apartment communities, in all the villages. So that is our major work in the next 2 months. Food for life. Harikshit Prabhu's desire is that prasadam distribution should expand. So we want to do food for life. Slowly our kitchen is stabilizing. We want to stabilize it more, so much more, that every day in the evening we want to distribute some 50 to 100 donnas of prasadam, and we want people to take charge of that. We want that to happen independently, autonomously, basically. So that is the next target. And apart from this, every center flourishes only when it is only when, not just only when, but also when it is supported by the youth. So we have already started some youth preaching, which is focused on the youth of this area and the area nearby. And the idea is to bring in more and more youth energy into this congregation, so that the book distribution, prasadam distribution, and Harinam Sankirtan will happen more and more. Because needless to say, youth have more energy. So we need more youth. Everybody is youth, but the real youth also has to. When I'm saying, people are looking down, so everybody is youth. As long as one is enthusiastic in service of Guru and Krishna, they are youth. But we cannot ignore the youthful energy. So we want that. We want to have a flourishing youth preaching happening here. So a small group of devotees, basically 4 or 5 devotees include, with me they are working, and very soon we want to have a base kind of a setup in this area, where they will just bring in their youthful energy into this preaching. Another desire or another plan which we have, which we will do during our Janmashtami promotions and awareness creation program, we want to do some Harinam Sankirtans and spread the word about it. So this is a short brief. Yes, Mataji classes, you mean? Yeah. So we have special Stri Dharma seminars also going on, which helps the Matajis here, and also all the Matajis are basically welcome, but the feedback of that is very good. So I'm not very much involved in that, but on the top level I know that the feedback is good, and around 40 Matajis are attending that. So there are plans to start a Vaishnavi forum also. So we'll see how it works out.
Who is taking
Her Grace Shyam Vallabi Mataji is taking the class. And also Nilamri Mataji is involved in that. So I think we had circulated some details about it, but more everybody is welcome. So these are some of the programs which we are working upon, and this is how we want to expand and stabilize further. We seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees today. Especially, I'm very, very happy. We are very happy as a congregation that all of you have come here. Many of you couldn't come when the center was getting inaugurated. So we welcome you here, and we pray so that you can bless us, so that we can do something whatever is possible from our side to please the seniors around us. If you are happy with us, please bless us, that we can always cooperate with everybody. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay. So I would like to now invite upon His Grace Kartikeya Prabhu to help us to understand how the preaching started, stabilized and expanded, and how ultimately a center was opened in the Panupur region. Hare Krishna.
Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhete girim yatkripatam vande Shri Gurum Niratayanam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar. Hare Krishna. Feeling very fortunate to be amongst all the leaders of ISKCON Whitefield. Leaders means very pakka in sadhana, pakka in following regulative principles, eager to preach. So that itself brings in a lot of energy. So feeling very fortunate for that today. So regarding the sense, so I purposely asked Achyut to speak first, then I can say same. So many, most of the things will be same. So it all started when Harikshtarpur realized that two leaders cannot be at the same place. He threw one in Kadugudi, he threw another in Velandur. That's how it all started. So 2018 was the first Janmashtami that we did in SV Vrindavanam. So we had 3 couples there, who were helping us out, doing that. And as he rightly said, oh, by the way, there's so much similarity. So he started in SV Heights, I started in SV Brindavan. Same. Yes. 2018. So we did that Janmashtami, and it's all in the apartment, and these three families were nicely fried out after that. Yes. And then we started a Gita course, and then it went on for some time, and I had other engagements of youth preaching and other things. We found one Bhakti Vriksha, which I was taking, then I handed over it to Srinidhi Prabhu. And that's how things happened there. And now, from that entire Gita course, we have one family, three families existing, and one family which has become very serious. So they are doing a lot of services now. So in 2019, January time, Yugal Kishore Prabhu started a Gita course in a yoga studio in Belandur area. So from there, we had Krishna Kannamangala Prabhu and Krishna Mohan Prabhu coming into Belandur area, and they started helping there in that particular place. And from that, we have Shripati Prabhu, Jyotishwar Prabhu. So the few leaders came out from that Gita course also. And then the game-changing thing was 2019 Janmashtami that we did. Now it was the desire of Parikshita Prabhu to have a very big Janmashtami there, and we were trying our best to search for a hall, marriage hall like we do in every other place, but there was no marriage hall at all, anywhere. There were only party halls which were very small. And then finally, I think one day Harikshita and myself, we were just going around, and then we met few people, and one person took to another person, and that was a sports complex. So in an open volleyball ground, we had set up a proper tent, which became a temple on the day of Janmashtami. And the same owner, he gave us a place to start our Gita course. So that was a TT hall. I'm sure most of you have visited the place. That was a TT hall. And we started in a very humble way because we had no option there. So tables were there, their managers would sit in the same place. So we just had a wall, white wall, and on that we had photos. Curtains were also not there at start. Then we had some idea of Operation Theatre curtains. So we made that, and then we covered that particular thing. So that's how we had a Janmashtami where around 6,500 people visited. And then started the physical Gita course in that particular place. So whatever Prabhuji said, Achyut Prabhu said about publicity of Janmashtami, we also did the same thing. And after this Janmashtami, the Gita course that we had, that was really good. Many people came. And from that 2019 Janmashtami, now we have many leaders, the Bhakti Vriksha leaders. So when we completed that physical Gita course, we made 4 Bhakti Vrikshas from that. And then in the lockdown, we had 2 online Gita courses. Oh, by the way, in that one physical Gita course that we had, we got one full-time brahmachari. So that is Vibham Prabhu. So he used to sit in that place, and in one corner he would sit and hear my class. And with time I recognized that he is the only bachelor coming in my class, and then I gave some special attention. Yes, so after first physical Gita course, we started 2 online. And when we completed these 3 Gita courses, so we started 10 more Bhakti Vrikshas. So this was like at one go. So total 12 Bhakti Vrikshas we have, and the 2 leaders who are taking Bhakti Vrikshas, now they become sector leaders. So we have Srinidhi Prabhu and Krishna Kannamangala Prabhu. So they are handling the 2 sectors and 12 Bhakti Vrikshas. Now what helped? So I'll not repeat whatever Achyut Prabhu has said. So same things we were doing. Bhakti Vriksha leaders taking care of their members a lot, to such an extent that they would personally take them to the temple, invite them for lunch, they go for to their place. So many things they did, and I can see that so much of bonding has developed between the Bhakti Vriksha leaders and members. Especially now, when the Gita courses are happening, we can make out, because the Bhakti Vriksha leaders will instruct and the members are ready to follow. That's a big thing. And that's how harmoniously the Gita course is running, very nicely. And we also organized 2 baby shower functions. Yes, it was awkward for me as a brahmachari to go there, but then I was there. So all the leaders would be there, and nice kirtan, nice katha. I remember Krishna Kannamangala Prabhu giving class in one of the baby shower function. Altar installation is something which is new that we have got. So I was the only Hitler initially, where I'll go to homes and say, remove all the demigods and have only these photos. Now we've got many Hitlers in our circle. If I'm not wrong, approximately, I think 20 altar installations we have done till now.
All the leaders.
First all the leaders, all the 10 leaders, 12 leaders in their houses we have the altars, and then their members. And now we have still pending. We are not able to give dates. We are busy. And by the way, this altar installation helps a lot. We saw that right from the day the altar is installed and the regular worship has started in their place, because we give them the 4 things that they have to do, the 4 seva: waking up the Lord, doing one arti, offering one bhoga, deity resting. When they're doing it regularly, we're seeing that how that is helping them to become fixed up devotees. And their mood is also changing. Many people have reported this, in whose houses we had this altar installation. And as we all know, in Bangalore, traveling from one place to another is very difficult. So Panatur and IBC or ISKCON Whitefield is just 6 kilometers, but still there's a problem to come because of some hurdles in between, the Marathalli hurdle and Kundanhalli hurdle and things like that. So yes, the center was needed. So we already had that place, but it was a shared place. So TT, people would come wearing shoes and they would play TT there, table tennis. It would really pain our hearts when we would see that. And then we have to keep that aside and mop that place and get ready, for the Gita course on Sunday evenings. By the mercy of Corona, TT washed away from there. The manager's table was removed from that place, and the owner told me, this place I've kept for ISKCON. Now this place, by Lord's mercy, by all the blessings of superiors, is till now it is given for free to us. So light bill, water bill, and cleaning of various things, everything is taken care by the owner. We go and do the program and come back. And then when we started renovate, by the way, renovation all started when we came to Kannamangala Center. So we looked everywhere, and then my leaders came to me and said, Prabhuji, something we should also do. Then it's almost similar. If you come to PK Sports or IBC Panatur, it's all similar. Huh? Interior design is the same. Yes. Then we have to do one step extra, right? We have gone. So we had put one more photo extra there. So now the center has come up so nicely. We see that every day evening seva is going on. And we have a roster where every single evening we have one devotee family coming and doing the seva. And that has made them connected to the center, to the mission so nicely. This is what we are seeing. As soon as the dates are posted that these dates are free, the devotees are coming up themselves saying, I'll come for worshipping, I'll come for worshipping. And there are some new devotees whom we, new means they are not leaders, but we allowed them to worship, and now they've become very fixed up, just by coming and doing seva in the center. And then in Feb 22, the center opening happened after Kannamangala Center. I think the next Sunday only we had the inauguration. The book distribution contacts we got from last December, we started a new Gita course, so that's still running. So that got completed recently, and we have formed the Bhakti Vrikshas. So the challenge was, after the online Gita course, we had people all around India, and to get them at one place was not possible except for Zoom. So we had to plan for a new Gita course, and we started that, and then clubbed the previous Gita course, new Gita course together. And now we have these existing 12 Bhakti Vrikshas running very nicely with people staying close by. So that's what has happened now. What are the benefits of local centers? So first is accessible. It's very nice to see that we have our center, and around we have so many devotees staying. It's all apartments. And even for the Gita course, the ones who are coming, if you ask where are you staying, just this apartment. That's how they show. Just 5 minutes walk from here. So that's the most important thing that we felt, very, very accessible. They just come by walk. 5 minutes walk and they're there at the center. More service engagements, as I already mentioned, on a regular basis. And there's a different feeling now, feeling of my center. It's my center, we have to take care. Probably this is not there, that is not there, let's do this, let's do that. Yes. And obviously festivals. So Swad Utsav is something which we started in ISKCON Whitefield. We are taking forward the same thing in IBC Panatur. And new thing that we have started is Deepotsav. That is going on very nice. In South India, Deepotsav works a lot. With a lot of awe and reverence, people appreciate the festival. And in this, the online Gita course that we had, so out of that we had many devotees from Bangalore. And few of them were from Adarsh Palm Retreat. And one of them is our interior designer. So at her place, in that particular villa community, we have started a Gita course recently by Yugal Kishore Prabhu and Kishori Mataji. So they shifted from Dubai to Bangalore, and they are doing that. Today at 12 o'clock, the Gita course is going to happen, second session today. Now what next after this? So Prabhuji has a desire that there should be a Janmashtami in Sarjapur also. So we are planning to have a Janmashtami at Sarjapur Junction, Harlu Road, Sarjapur Junction. And seniors desire, we just go around to execute and we get a place for free. So this is what has happened now. Recently we went and we have seen a hall. It's a good spacious hall. And the chairman of that trust, he has agreed to give that place for free. The way he expressed was, if you collect donation, you can give. If it is not collected, don't give. And we know what we'll do. So after Janmashtami, we need a lot of prayers of all the devotees here. So as Prabhuji said, Bhakti Vriksha's Janmashtami, and next comes the Gita course, again Bhakti Vriksha, and then again we have the Bhakti Center. So now we want to start a Bhakti Center there. By the end of this year, we should be having a Bhakti Center there, which will help us to carry forward the mission. And maybe after Sarjapur, we have the next places. We'll go till the electronic city. Yes, we have some devotees hankering to have a center in Sarjapur. Yes, we'll do that. And also this regarding book distribution, Prabhuji was speaking about Dameshwar doing Sankirtan here and getting this place. So now the marriage hall or the hall that we have got for Janmashtami, just opposite to that we are doing book distribution this time in December. So multiple times we have done book distribution in that place. And I could resonate with the point, wherever Sankirtan happens, the Lord showers special mercy and we have a place there for ourselves. So that's it from my side. We seek blessings from all the devotees that please bless us so that more and more centers come up from this team. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you Achyut Prabhu and Kartikeya Prabhu for sharing this very valuable points from how did they actually start their Janmashtami and Bhakti Vriksha and center and things like that. Okay, so one point which Achyut Prabhu forgot was throughout the year book reading session. So every day afternoon Prabhu does 1.5 hours of book reading with the leaders and interested congregation. So that also helped people to stay together and connected and expansion. So now we are 11:07 now, and okay, so we're just like 37 minutes delay. So we are, every time we go for yatra, we keep checking that train app, where are we, how much time delay. So especially when the prasadam is supposed to come in the next station. Everybody are looking at the time. So here also, like we have a little bit of delay. So anyway, it is leaders program. Devotees are like leaders are pouring out their heart, and then we are getting nice nourishment. So the next program is that we have the group discussion that is going to happen now. So this is ideally 1 hour. So the group discussion is, we will have 3 groups, the ACS, this Panatur and Kannamangala. So if leaders are confused, some leaders are confused, then you can sit in one of these groups. So the idea here is that the discussion points are, how did you start your Janmashtami? How did you propagate and bring people to the Janmashtami all these years? Some of this is already a little bit covered in this, but still, though we can have a little more thorough discussion on that. And then Janmashtami is the precursor to Gita course. And while preparing for Janmashtami, how should we plan for future Gita courses? This one, just for example, if we are like Sudhir Gopal Prabhu was seeing that Sai Palace, Kalyana Mandap, and then he told that it's a very nice Kalyana Mandap, it is accessible for Hope Farm people and things like that. But nearby 2 kilometers, there is no, radius, there is no people staying there. So then there is no point in doing Janmashtami, because our whole point of doing Janmashtami is, of course, to glorify Krishna. So but that is our secondary point. First point is to glorify Krishna in a more longer duration, That's to conduct the Gita course. We don't want to do 1-day match, We want to do 365-day match. So we want to have some place where we can conduct Gita course which can be little bit close by and where people can easily access. So that is a very important consideration. Just putting up one festival is not sufficient. We need to also continue through. So will the environment and will the area favorable to that? So this is one aspect I was just mentioning. So in this way, while doing Janmashtami, how we actually keep this thing in mind, right? And then your advice for the new areas who are starting Janmashtami. So this is the topics that we are going to discuss in the group. So I request all the leaders to divide yourself in the 3 groups and start your discussion. So these two, like I request Sudirupal and Vandamada Prabhu to lead the ACS group. So like you can bring in the old stories, actually how we started and things like that. That will be nice. Hare Krishna. Okay, so ACS devotees can come here near to Prabhupada, and then Panathur can go back, and Achutpu can be there in the middle. Near the cows. Near the cows. So we have 15 minutes time now, and after discussion we will assemble back and we will have each one of you presenting for 10 minutes. Right? Hare Krishna.
Janmashtami. But before that, we have already said, like we used to have a lot of abundant complexes programs. So we used to have a lot of Janmashtami program in apartment complex. Like we did Triptych program, Mahavir Prasthana, Golden Star, Vaishnava, apartment complexes. Then we realized that we have limitations to reach out as many complexes as possible. Then why don't we maybe 100 people?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You're all on video.
Hare Krishna.
Hey, you're playing something.
Say Hare Krishna once.
What are you
All of
playing?
you say Hare Krishna.
See, soon tell everybody are watching. What are you playing?
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, who is watching?
Everybody are watching.
At the entire India, the entire
All of you together.
Hey, let's pray together, pray together.
Yeah, everybody together chant Hare
Together say
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, we have just 3-4 minutes left. I know it is nectar discussing all the wonderful activities of Krishna consciousness. So, but we have lack of time, so 3-4 minutes devotees can wrap up.
And then one more idea actually of like simple method. In a mall, what is it? Mall. Yeah, no, what is that was also.
Hare Krishna, just 2 more minutes to go. Huh? Very, very. So we have exhausted our time. I think like even to, if a preacher without preparation he gives 1 hour class. With 10 minutes preparation he can give 2 hours class. But we want only 15 minutes. So highlights. Okay, Hare Krishna. So devotees can come back. Hari Bol. Yes, yes. Prabhu, we have only 2 minutes time for discussion. इसमें lobbying में चल रहा time चल रहा है.
We are a big community with a small community.
So just 1 more minute left in the extension, 2 minutes. Okay, so devotees can now come back. Otherwise, we will not be able to go back home, back to our sweet homes. Hare Krishna, devotees can come back soon. Hari Hari. So, who wish to present first? Okay, Srinidhi was raising hand. Srinidhi Babu raised hand. Who wished to present first? ठीक है, हरि बोल. All devotees, please face the altar. So we invite Krishna Kannamangala Prabhu from Panakur Bhakti Center to present the first, the essence of the group discussion.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please focus.
So I'm presenting for this Beladur area, how we started and what is. So the first question is, how did you start your Janmashtami? So last 2019 we started their Janmashtami. Start with Nagar Sankirtan actually. So we all come together and we went all the Shobha, big Shobha apartments there. Even though nobody's come out, we'll have a speaker and then we promote Nagar Sankirtan. And then apartment programs we have done. Some specific, some of the apartment we personally go all together, and in that hall we call them everybody and then we do programs there. Sankirtan basically.
And then the kids program we have done, like particularly Sukiya Mataji done the kids program, and then through the kids, their parents will be called for the program, and then in the parents' house, again their apartment people will be called. Like this, we start promoting. That is one way we did it, and door-to-door publicity we did, like door-to-door the Kalasha program in the Janmashtami we do Kalasha Abhishek, so that also attract the people to participate in Janmashtami, and slowly they become participating in Gita course. And even Cook for Krishna also we collected, that's also give a lot of people to come bring bohas to the Lord. Through that we get some of the contacts. That's how we started. So the second question, how did you propagate? Okay, propagate. This is already we have done. Okay, next one is how we are going to do this year. Um Members can arrange programs in their apartments. Like so now Gita course members are there. So each members we requested to arrange the program in their house. So earlier we do ISKCON people come. Now the local now the Gita course member itself inviting the people so that they are known to each other, like in the apartment. So through that we conduct the program. That is a plan we have. Again, we are going to have a Nagar Sankirtan this year also. Now we are going to start a new one, right? In that also we are planning Nagar Sankirtan so that we can propagate more and more. So basically the Nagar Sankirtan is a lot of potential we have, because that is giving, so here some ISKCON people, they are going to come and then they are going to start some program here. That is more important, so that whenever we start new area, so Nagar Sankirtan we have to do, that gives a lot of things, because people automatically come and see out of the apartment, like just to come, the peep out and see what is that new sound is coming, and it's a transcendental vibration they'll hear and automatically attracted. And then one more thing is that, okay, this also last year also we have done. Last year means 2019. So at that time we don't know many apartments. So some of the lead we get, and then we'll ask them to circulate the message to that apartment, to whole apartment. So because we cannot send directly to the apartment group, big apartment. So we get one of the lead in the apartment, and then we'll ask them to post in their apartment groups. So they post it. Through that we get a lot of people. And one more thing is local shops, nearby shops, we give pamphlets. We are planning to give the pamphlets so that they will promote our Janmashtami things. And then one more, inviting MLA and MP through like nearby corporate or through that. And last year, in 2019, we have a corporate. She donated some for rice around how many bags do I go? I forgot. So whole rice, actually she gave a lot of rice and returned some bags. So corporate gave us. And video experience of previous Gita course people. So we record how they, so that short video we circulate, and then through that also we can get the people. How we are going to plan for this Janmashtami is find a nearby place where more people are staying. Like, sorry. Yeah, plan for Gita course. Yeah, this is a plan for Gita course. So because Janmashtami means the outcome is finally, as Prabhu said, one is to please Krishna, the other one is preaching, throughout glorify Krishna. So for that, we this year also we are starting new Janmashtami, but in that one hall, it is a very good hall actually. It is very good for our program. Easy one day, 2 day, whatever program is there, every facility was there in that hall. But the other hall, much facility is not there, but around a lot of apartments and preaching facilities there. Like we have more people to preach. So we selected that other center, Mandapa, so that to conduct the our Janmashtami program, and we have planned for taking a hall nearby, or if possible there itself we can get it by Lord's mercy we can get it. We can do that, because in that Mandapa we have 3 floors, but we don't know. We are planning that also. So how we are going to do the Gita course? So the plan is that, so we have now around 12 Bhakti Vrishas. So the 12 Bhakti Vrishas will be split into 2 places. So around 5 or 6 for each center will be allocated, and then in that every week one Bhakti Vriksha will be serving the Gita course. Remaining 4 Bhakti Vrikshas will be conducting their Bhakti Vrikshas. So in a month, so 3 Bhakti Vrikshas will be happen there, and one will be the service for them. That's how we plan this Bhakti Vriksha. So that's all from me. Prabhuji? Advice for new areas, yes. The advice for new area is this one. We want more people to preach. So where in vicinity we have to find out, and if some leaders are there, our preaching leaders, particularly like if you have a Bhakti leader, if he is nearby that center somewhere, so it is easy for them to conduct later programs and all, like we can give. So that we have to consider always, because after conducting Bhakti Vishak, there is no leader there. So the people to connect, leaders will not be there. So that is one of the important aspects we have to think. Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hari Hari, thank you very much, Krishna Kannamurti Prabhu. So, in a very short and crisp way, presented all the points in a very nice way. So, I was also thinking when devotees were presenting, sometimes there, many points might have missed also in the discussion and when presenting. So, if the devotees can also go back and do a little more thorough discussion and make a document and circulate in our preachers group, so that will be helpful for this one. So each area now, I was also seeing many wonderful points are coming, but still the other devotees are busy in making their points. Still many points would have got missed also in grasping. So if we can document this and put it again in in our preachers group. So for planning Janmashtami, we can take all these things and do a very comprehensive plan. So now we will call upon the second team. Who wants to come second? Bandhu Madhav will call upon. Hare Krishna. So we will hear from a lot of historical story of our ISKCON Whitefield. Hare Krishna.
By the time our discussion was getting warmed up, Harikshetra already rang the bell. We couldn't finish our discussion. Anyway, whatever we discussed, I'll share here. So yes, as you all might have heard, even during our Brahmotsavam also about some history of our center starting here in the AECS layout, how things actually formed. So it all started with Janmashtami basically. So prior to Janmashtami, we had 3 Bhakti Vrikshas running, led by our Sudhir Gopal Prabhu, Yugal Kishore Prabhu, and Shrikant Srinivas Prabhu. So we had only 3 Bhakti Vrikshas in this whole belt of Whitefield, Marathalli area. That was the only thing running. And after that, around 2011, we started Janmashtami here. That was the first event, first Janmashtami ever happened here. Who all were part of that Janmashtami? That happened, but not small scale, right? It was not so big scale. Yeah, apartment only. Yeah, I think that used to happen quite a few places, not just your apartment. Yeah. Who were all there for 2011 Janmashtami here?
Was attending.
Right, so very few devotees here who attended actually. So you can understand how many devotees were there and doing all the services there. It was very few, and obviously like Harikshetra Prabhu also came with this team, right? For 2011. Anand Gauranga Prabhu, yeah. So many. We took a lot of help from.
Sri Gaur Prabhu's vehicle was given to us, and we were roaming around in that area for 1 month.
Right, yeah. So our main promotion those days, it was through pamphlets, because social media and all were not so active that time. So hand-to-hand pamphlet distribution. So almost all the devotees were in the streets doing pamphlet distribution. Finish your office, come back. In the evening we used to distribute, and then the weekends we used to distribute. Rain will come. So all that hangama, everything was happening. So that's happening even today anyway. So Yeah, it all started with that in a small way, and I believe in the first Janmashtami that we had around 18,000 people or so.
No,
coming.
10,000.
10,000? Maybe the next year was different, I think.
18 we never
Eight,
crossed it.
I think we touched, I remember we touched 4.
No, all three put together.
It was 2 days program those days. Kids competition were happening in the first day, and then the Janmashtami will be second day.
Full 2 days program we used to.
Yeah. Anyway, numbers are fading away from the mind, so it doesn't really matter. So yes, so it started off with 3 Bhakti Vrikshas in this area, and then small pockets of Janmashtami, and then big Janmashtami in BSR Convention Hall, 2011, and then so there the main promotions schemes that we used was pamphlet distribution, obviously, and the others we used were FM jingles. So those days we used to use that as a big tool. We used that for even book distribution. I remember Varakrishna Prabhu when he came to Jagannath Mandir that time, 99 rupees Bhagavad Gita. That was promoted at the big time in the FM. So those days FM was
20,000 Bhagavad Gitas.
right. So because everywhere people used to hear FM, even when you go in the buses, FM were getting played that time. So even when I was traveling to my office, I used to hear our Janmashtami jingles there. So that was a main thing, and obviously the auto, the banners on the colorful banners on the auto, and then that goes around the places. Our Nagar Sankirtan, we used to do door-to-door distribution in the area where we are doing it, so that people are getting aware, and especially Nagar Sankirtan frequency and will get increased as the date of Janmashtami comes closer. So we used to do it in that way. So obviously newspaper insertions, and we also tried to put in the yellow pages within the Whitefield and Brookfield area. So those days we used to try that. Yeah, so these kinds of promotions, obviously we used to have a team for our Janmashtami, because Varakrishna Prabhu definitely wanted people generally look for some change every time. Like even Harishetra Prabhu was saying that same old story will not work. The class Prabhu was saying that, so you have to give something different. So even Janmashtami, to attract people, we kind of did 540 kg laddu, 524 kg laddu, yeah. And the next year we tried to make the world's biggest greeting card, longest greeting card. So we tried to make that. Did we make a record or we didn't, right?
We didn't apply.
Anyway, the purpose was to bring people, that's different thing. Right. So the year after this, since then we started having this Cook for Krishna. That was actually going on for almost 4 years, 5 years, and then last year we started the Krishna Karuna kit. So even that actually was a great hit, I would say. So these were some of the promotion techniques, and also the kids program. Prior to the day of Janmashtami, we used to go to all the schools, distribute pamphlet in the schools to the children, invite them for Janmashtami kids competition, put that posters on the apartment, both the Janmashtami and the kids competition programs on the apartment posters, then hand-to-hand distribution in the schools, in the apartment. So these were some things that we used, and just making sure I don't miss anything. There's all the kids program. We had different kinds of themes and events and that. Sorry.
Big flex.
Yeah. Flex is another thing. Of course, now it is banned. So we used to have very big flexes in the Marthalli area, and I know Prabhu used to make the design for that.
30 feet away.
Yeah, very big flexes, very colorful, attractive flexes we used to actually make, and it was definitely eye-catching.
They're called hoardings.
Hoardings, yeah. Yeah, we also did one program in the mall also, Malanalli Madhava. So we used, that was done in Bellandur only, where is Karthikeya Prabhu. In Bellandur Central, we actually did that program, and we brought the deities inside the mall, and we had everybody show Arati, offer flowers, and we used to flash dance program also was there. So we did all these things. That was when 2013 or something, right? Maybe 13 kind of like.
First year or second year? 12, 12?
Yeah, 12, 13 it should have been mostly. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, so yes, and we also used to keep all the pamphlets in the shops, in ATM centers. Then off late we started doing it in Facebook and social media, etc. So these were the techniques. Door to door, yeah. We did, yeah, these were the techniques that we used for publicity. And yeah, ever since the first Janmashtami, of course, those days we were not having Gita courses. It was Gita courses, but a different format, basically. So that used to happen every Janmashtami. The whole aim, as Harikshetra Prabhu said, was to get contacts mainly. So we used to get contacts from the first Janmashtami this side, and we used to have follow programs after that, so that from the first day, like prior to having Janmashtami, we had 3 Bhakti Vrikshas, and slowly it actually grew. Now it is more structured, so earlier it was not so structured. So we were doing the Janmashtami contact collection, follow programs, and eventually Bhakti Vrikshas actually happened. So yeah, it slowly grew. I believe like in 2015 or something, we had 12 Bhakti Vrikshas or something. So in 4 years' time, we actually kind of, what do you say, multiplied into 4 times, kind of, whatever number, yeah. So it slowly grew up like that. So how should we plan for future Gita courses? So yes, and advice for new areas. So these 2 topics we didn't discuss much. I'm just thinking what can I share about that. Right, so obviously now we have a very much structured way of collecting contacts, and we have a good database for having the contacts and following it up for the Gita course. So I don't need to say anything much on that. So I think these were some things that we discussed in our group meeting, and we will churn out more thoughts. Yes, yeah. SMS. We used to buy SMS packages, and we used to blast SMS 2-3 days before Janmashtami, 1 week before Janmashtami. We used to do that. Yep.
Now we must have also more than 5,000 contacts. Old, inactive.
Yeah.
How we used to do calling of previous year contacts.
Yes, we did that also. Yes. So yeah, those days we used to even collect emails from them and then share, because that was the only medium to send something colorful to them. So pictures and all those stuff. Yeah. Right. So these were some things that we churned out. Thought we will share. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We also used to share some teaser videos as well. Those days when WhatsApp came in, we tried that as well.
Inside of the BMTC buses also we used to have.
Yes. So yeah, buses. Yeah. Right. That's all. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So it was nice hearing the old stories of how we actually started in the beginning in 2011. So thank you, Bandhumadha Prabhu, for sharing these wonderful things. Now we will call upon the Kadugodi team, Devananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji already talked about how we started Janmashtami in Kadugodi, so will not touch upon that. So we'll straight away go to the Janmashtmis.
So a little bit
Closer.
pull it down.
Better? Okay. So we did 2 physical Janmashtmis. Prabhu already explained that, and of course 2 onlines due to Corona. So in terms of preparation and propagation for the Janmashtami, of course, standard Harinam Sankirtana in all the apartment complexes and signals where the crowd is normally seen, and also the key
I won't say we don't have very big shopping malls in this stretch, but there are, you can say smaller version of shopping malls in 2-3 main junctions we have in this stretch. So there we regularly had Sankirtans and also book distribution, with which we can distribute the pamphlets, books, and collect contacts. So that was done nicely. And family distribution door to door, it was done as much as possible. Where we couldn't reach out to the, especially in apartments where we couldn't reach out to the individual houses, so we could establish contact with the MCs, and the estate managers handed over a bunch of pamphlets for them to distribute. So that was also done Janmashtami after Janmashtami in the entire area of Kaduguri. Book distribution continued, of course, our champion, leading by example. Prabhuji is always there in the front distributing the books and giving us a lot of inspiration. Of course, WhatsApp circulations was quite extensively used, especially Viraj Prabhu helped us to connect with MCs, created a group and then able to circulate messages run up to the Janmashtami. And also we had the fortune of inviting senior devotees coming over, giving lectures before Janmashtami to create a lot of inspiration and excitement, and also helped us to nourish us better. So we were fortunate to have very senior devotees, Haripap Parshad Prabhu had come, and Amarit Prabhu and Prabhupada's disciple couple, I don't remember the name now. No. Haripal Prabhu and Mataji had come, so they were very merciful, and they attended the Gita course. I mean, gave a class in the Gita course as well. So then Subhalas Prabhu had come in the Gita course and all that. So it was wonderful, and so school outreach was another important focus area. So we could, the Matajis particularly took the initiative of reaching out to all the schools, created a lot of excitement and helped them to kind of connect and participate in the competition on the Janmashtami day. Newspaper insertion, which is a very common tool which we all use. So that's been done year after year, and we could pretty much do about like 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. That's a range we could do in terms of insertion. And last year, of course, Krishna Karna kit was introduced. That was also quite extensively used. And I think we could see a lot of success in that with that initiative. And Calling Sankirtan Party was quite extensively used. Ads in apartment displays, whether it is digital or the display board, both were used. And book distribution and Damodar program also being leveraged in terms of context and etc. So for the Gita course, lessons learned, try and leverage that as to how we can further strengthen and improve the Gita course platform, and also so that will help us to do better with the Gita course. And nice publicity during Janmashtami for the Gita course. So already we have a format, but it's just that we need to see how well we can further publicize nicely for the course. And also registration, promote registration very aggressively. With each one, get one registrations and etc. Planning to have multiple Gita courses. So a lot of requests had come, suggestion had come that we should also look at doing it beyond just English. Maybe we have to look at Hindi and as well as some of the other vernacular languages, particularly Kannada and Telugu. And physical classes, of course, we've been bereft of the physical classes for a couple of years now because of the corona. So physical classes would definitely bring back the impetus which we could see years before corona. And of course, nice social media presence, whether it's Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. We can leverage all that platform to advertise both for the Janmashtami and also for the Gita course. And in terms of new areas,
Prabhuji already talked about OTP. That is something which we can do one-time program in all the complexes where we see potential and opportunities. And Nagar Sankirtan, of course, like our approach with the come out of the house program, approach, do Nagar Sankirtan. And we also see, from our experience, we have seen with kids program a lot of success with respect to the format and the approach. We've seen considerably and consistently we've seen success. So that is something we want to focus, maybe tagline like value education and around that. And a lot of many Matajis here have done wonderful job in designing and executing it. Of course, we have Manjali Mataji here who has done a lot of good work in that space. So we can leverage the strength we have and promote value education program for the kids. So that way we can also get some connects. For example, I myself connected to ISKCON through my kids. My own child who got into kids program, and then that's how we were connected. So that way we could kind of leverage that to connect the parents to the program, ISKCON programs and Gita courses. And book distribution, content collections we'll continue to do. And also while thinking of new area, while we look for a new area, so obviously it's too early to talk about. We may have to start discussing how we can expand and create more centers in and around Kannamangala or adjacent areas of Kannamangala. Pretty much that's it. Prabhuji, any points? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Devananpu, for giving the wonderful narration of all the different strategies that is used all these years for celebrating the Janmashtami. And definitely the new teams that are planning, they will have a lot of inputs from these things, and they will be like, with all this wealth of knowledge that is available, so they'll make better plans for making this Janmashtami very nice. So now there is going to be a very nice tasty break. So we have, what is that made? After I describe it, so when the description is given, then the appetite to have it becomes more. So I invite Achut to give a small description about the contents of the break.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada used to say that whenever you are tired, have prasad and then continue the Sankirtan movement. So little bit tiredness can be seen on the faces of people. So we have some nice snacks and something which will bring the temperature down, that is buttermilk. Please have as much as you can. And while having the snacks, please interact with each other, share with each other, develop a... Yeah, so Harishan is coming up out of the boxes ideas. So he wants to focus on everybody while they are having the snacks. I don't know how will that come out, but a short 15 minutes break. It's 11:58 now. We'll assemble back at 12:15. Some snacks and some buttermilk. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
जय श्री श्री गांधर्व का गिरिधारी श्रीमान महाप्रभु की जय, श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय. Any volunteer to take around?
प्रसाद कभी दिखाना है क्या? कब तक?
15 minutes पूरा. It'll take in turns. You can speak something, it will go.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
The first
Want to speak, huh?
Hare Krishna is the first cup of, I don't know what it is, some kind of a biscuit and buttermilk.
There is a prasadam going on. It's hiding somewhere.
हरे कृष्णा हाँ
क्या बोल रहे हैं वही डिस्कस करते हैं.
अच्छा क्या बोल रहे हैं सॉल्ट स्वीट और सॉल्टी कोई आस्किंग स्वीट और सॉल्टी
Tasty, definitely.
Very serious. Shall we go to kitchen? What the volunteers? Kids program is happening.
I'm going to tell you slowly so that everyone can understand. Okay? Want to put the mic or something?
So over there he was born, and he was actually like a fortune.
One second, 1 second.
A for-
he opened this topic. So since then I have been planning about it. And when he says, that means like he thinks that we can do. So it's not about financial planning, like I added 2 words before that. It's Krishna conscious financial planning. Because for us as devotees, financial planning needs to be conjoined with Krishna conscious activity and our spiritual life. So what does Krishna says, his assurance to his devotees in Bhagavad Gita in 9.22? Who will recite? Ananya, yes? So he gives us assurance, right? That I carry what you lack and I will preserve what you have. So see, this financial planning, what we call as financial independence, basically means our dependence on Krishna. Our dependence on Krishna's assurance, right? And it is said that a pure devotee of Krishna depends completely on his mercy. What for? Begging for his service, right? See, our ultimate aim is not to seek protection, right? Or not to seek him to be safeguarding our financial needs. Basic thing is what we beg from him is his mercy for, so that we will be able to serve him, right? And a devotee would plan for his financial independence or for her financial dependence so that they can serve Krishna, right? And develop personal relationship. Someone will like to read this, what Prabhupada has to say on it. Anyone can, yeah, Krishna.
The source of our income is not actually the source of. The source of our income is not actually the source of our maintenance. Every living being, from the great Brahma down to an insignificant ant, is being maintained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ego Bhavanam Vidadati Dharma. The one Supreme Being, Krishna, maintains everyone. Our so-called source of income is our own choice only. If I wish to be a hunter, it will appear that hunting is the source of my maintenance. If I become a Brahmana and completely depend on Krishna, I do not conduct a business, but nonetheless, my maintenance is supplied by Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 4th chapter, 257 verse.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So here, Prabhupada clearly says that, our dependence should be on Krishna's mercy, right? Whatever financial planning you do or you don't do, ultimately, until and unless you are dependent on Krishna's mercy in a sense that you are spiritually strong, right? It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult. The financial independence in itself has no value if you don't have a clear philosophy, if you don't have clear philosophical understanding of Krishna conscious principles. Even if you have a clear understanding of Krishna conscious principles, you will not be able to sustain it for long until unless you have devotee association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we have to, wow. So Krishna wants me to give rest to my throat. Should I continue? Wait. हाँ इसको मैसेज चाहता हूँ ठीक है सर नीचे से ऐसे आके, हाँ ठीक है.
ठीक है. Please come forward.
Yeah.
So now, without mic, the session will happen. So everybody come closer.
Come everybody.
Sudhir Gopal Prabhu is saying brahmacharis in front. There are a lot of lessons for brahmacharis as well.
So that they can give right advice.
So we should all have.
So devotees can bring the chair also close by and we can come closer.
So we should have clear philosophical understanding, and we cannot sustain that philosophical understanding until unless we have good association, right? And the most important thing we again and again discussed during our yatra dialogues was that in order for us to be called as devotees following Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what do we need to do? We need to preach, right? So you have to be preaching Krishna conscious, right? And for all these things, the bottom line is again our dependence on Krishna. This is one thing which I'll repeat again and again. Because more than your financial planning, it's your dependence on Krishna, which will be more practical. Because finance is one thing. Almost everyone is dependent at every point of our time. From our birth, our parents start thinking that, I've seen parents literally from day one, they'll start investing. Who are financially mature, they'll do that. Or some others will think, some parents also think their kids to be financial liabilities, right? So it all starts whether a parent is mature financially or thinks of her or his children as liability, they think about finances, right? Entire education system, when we go to any school or colleges, the background is how much money can we earn, right? Even if we end up doing business, right? Our jobs, how much can we be paid, right? Hardly, even when we talk about devotees, hardly few devotees think in terms of how this job can facilitate in my serving Krishna. Hardly few. It's all about how much money we can get, and right. And we are unfortunately we all are also driven that until unless we are financially secure, until unless my kids are financially secure, my wife, so they drag themselves in and out, day in, day out, right? Now, when we talk about money coming in from various things, from our education, from our job, from whatever it is, the most important thing which devotee has to think of is how much he or she is going to spend. More than our focus on earning should be our focus on spending. Not a single penny should go from our pocket without thoughtful consideration, whatever it may be, including donations. Harishet Prabhu writes a message, and you people, out of whatever he has written, you donate. Think twice before you donate. Okay? Think twice before you donate. Because in all when we talk about devotees, we talk about living expenses. And donation is one of our important thing, right? As devotees, we have to donate. We should be donating. But then you should have a budget for it. I'll show you everything. So when we talk about financial independence or financial planning, it is not emotional, it is not hypothetical, it's not something that when we are talking about our dependence on Krishna, that we will not do a logical, systematic planning. We'll do that. The way many of you may be working in corporate sector, we do smart goals for everyone, right? As leaders, as managers, when you are Bhakti Vriksha leaders, it is understood that you will at least be a manager in your organization, right? So we all know we do smart goals, and smart goals means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, right? So when we talk about our financial planning, right? We will do that also, right? So we have to be very specific and very clear. Specific means you have to be very clear in what you are talking about. Clear in terms of, what is it going to give me, right? So Prabhupada always used to say one thing: simple living and high thinking. So we are very clear about this, right? We have a specific. It's not reflecting there, right? Oh, so yeah, I can. This is, yeah. So at least you can see.
If devotees can open up your YouTube, you'll be able to find the slides that are right.
Yeah.
No, there are the slides are not coming.
Share
it. It's shared in the group.
Kartikeya Prabhu, how can I reflect as a full day? As a full, it's not coming. It's
If it gets shared in the group, WhatsApp.
I'll just show you, like, right? So at least you are able to see. Now you will tell me what is written, okay? You are able to see? No. Okay.
WhatsApp.
So,
This can be WhatsApp to the group.
yeah, I'll send it. I'll send all the details. Right?
Right now, bro, so that we can look at, you can say page number this.
Sure. Okay.
इसका PDF बना दीजिए और फिर शेयर कर दीजिए
PDF.
फाइल
So S means specific. We have to be very specific. We have to be very clear in what we want, right? We want what Prabhupada wanted. We have to be thinking of simple living and high thinking. That is the bottom line. Simple living and high thinking. If we have to stick to these principles. Now, simple living can be different for different individuals. You cannot have a uniform way of looking at things. Like if you ask me to go out in sun for even 1 minute, I'll have very bad headache. Right? For others, they can live for hours in sun. So when so I live very close to Vrindavan, to Govardhan, even my birthplace. So once I went to Govardhan to do a parikrama, and there it was noon time. And there was one Maharaj, Gaurav Narayan Swami Maharaj. That time he was a brahmachari. So he told me, my legal name is Sumit, that Sumit, better you don't go out at this time, it will be difficult. I said, Maharaj, so many people are doing and I can also do, so no problem. And I and my brother went out, and just like maybe 1 kilometer or so, we had blisters. We have, and we had to come back. So, we cannot look at others and plan our finances. You have to, this is very individual thing. You cannot think that, someone can have their target for financial independence 2 crores, someone may have 10 crores. You cannot generalize these things. They're very personal, very individual. Okay? So, or you can connect through the mobile thing. Right? Now, second thing is measurable, right? Measurable means you will be able to measure them, right? So measurable means you should know what your expenses are, right? And what your income is, right? So it is measurable. It is very well defined, and I'll tell you how to do it. Achievable, right? It cannot be achievable until and unless the entire family comes together. Husband running in one direction and wife in another direction, it will never happen. You all have to be together, right? You all have to be, even your kids should understand. Understanding of kids in a sense that, they may not be as mature, but, they should have a reasonable understanding. In a sense, like how kids should be together. If you are too ambitious about your kids' education and you're driven by your relatives about their marriage, then you can never do your financial planning. If you listen to your relatives about how you should marry them, in what way, you will never be able to do your financial planning. You should see how devotees marry their kids, in what way. In simple living and high thinking is what we want our devotees to be, right? So this is something we have to be very clear about, right? Then the R is, it should be reasonable, right? It should be realistic, right? Realistic in a sense that you should measure it, and we will tell you in an Excel how you should do it. Time bound is one thing which is most important. Like I keep talking to many senior devotees, right? In Vrindavan, everyone will come and I'll speak to them. And someone told me like a couple of important things for all of you who are planning for, these things is that one devotee told me that you probably will keep changing your goalpost. Today, you think that your daughter will study BSc. Tomorrow she'll study BSc in Singapore. Day after in Japan, and then post graduation in US, and fellowship in Mars. So that is endless, right? That is endless. Just day before yesterday, I was hearing that in Florida University they were able to grow a plant in the soil of Mars. Right, so you may plan like, wow, my daughter is interested in this, my son is interested, why don't I send? And then from there to Mars, and then some other planet. So that thing is very important. Your financial planning, when you do it, it should be reasonable, following all these criterias. But the most important thing is it should be time bound. You have a clear deadline. Not the amount, because amount may keep changing, right? Okay. So it is there in the WhatsApp group, but I am done with my presentation. So now I want this to be sent. This Excel. Okay, so see, now this is going to be little difficult on WhatsApp. I don't know how you can see Excel on WhatsApp. देख सकते हैं? Okay. So if someone is not savvy using all these things on WhatsApp, you sit beside someone who can help you. Because I, being a medical doctor, I'm very bad at it. And I cannot imagine how you can do it. So, you please do that. So first tab is of general information. Now, Bandhu Madhav Prabhu was asking me like, this is why you do in PowerPoint, but you have to tell them how. That is more important, right? So how comes in this first tab, general information, right? So this is my own planning. I've taken out all the figures from it, right? So the important thing is the date when you are doing your financial planning is the date, 21st of May, 2022. Then you write your husband and wife age, right? And then what is the retirement date, right? You have to decide that. You have to decide the retirement date. That will come, that we'll come to that, but theoretically you should put some date there, right? And I have written specific words there, fixed. Please don't change them. Once you do your financial planning, please avoid changing that date. Because as that devotee told me, your goalpost will keep changing. You plan to have a fixed date, right? That is very important. Then you write about children, how old they are, when are they going to complete the school. And some children are, some parents will spoon feed them for lifelong till they themselves don't go back to Golok. Don't do that. Give them their own independence. Give them financial, psychological, every time of independence, spiritual independence. Don't spoon feed them, right? And don't think that, forever they are dependent on you. Yes, they should be, dependent on you. And you as reasonable parents, as devotee parents, have to set an example, right? 3.21. Who will recite? You are all leaders. Sayat Anuvartate. So what does that mean? We have to set example, right? We cannot be setting wrong examples or bad examples, right? We as leaders, we have to set examples. So we cannot be irresponsible devotee parents. We cannot be irresponsible husbands, right? Or even children. So we have to take care of our responsibilities, right? So daughter's education now, PV, when I'm writing PV, you have to write present value of what you think, how much you are going to spend in his or her marriage. As of today, if your son is even 5 years old, I'll tell you how you are all engineers, most of you. So I don't have to tell you. But if, for example, you think in the marriage, as of today, you are going to spend 100 rupees. Okay. So there is a formula which in which you can put the inflation and number of years, and which will give you a proportional future value of this amount. Just adding the inflation, right? And if you want, you can also add, lifetime inflation. There's something like that. But yeah, so inflation you can add. You have to think. Present value you can all think easily. So he's marrying, and he's spending 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore, 10 crores, whatever you think reasonable for yourself. You plan that present value and future value will come. Similarly, it is for education. These are the two things where most Indian parents earn money for their children, marriage and education. These are the things, if you don't plan them nicely, then you can never be financially independent. You have to have fixed thing that whatever may happen, there may be extreme situations and circumstances, but what you have to think, this is the amount, in this amount, what he or she can do. IIT nahi hua to MIT US or whatever, again, you then keep driving yourself crazy, your children crazy, and everyone crazy. You will never be. So that is where one thing, I do. Because, so going to the next step is expenses. Now, when we talk about finances, important thing is insurances, right? Every devotee should have their health insurance and term insurance. Now, let me explain you what is the basic understanding of term insurance. Term insurance or health insurance, whatever you do, please do it independent, like what you call just term insurance. Don't mix it. Don't mix investment with insurance. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are some ELIS, ULIP plans. Don't do that. Don't do that. In Vrindavan, because ICICI people, they saw money in by. Oh, this is working? Oh, sorry. I thought nothing is working. Okay, so when these bank people, they saw money in my bank account, they came to me, almost entire bank came to me, and then I gave them training, and then I told them that your people are cheating you. I had an Excel in front. See, I am a medical doctor, but I'm very good in maths. In 10th class, when I came out of my classroom, I was 100% sure I'll get 99. I was like, if you give me any sum, I could solve it. Even now, if I'm earning money, it's because of my catch on finances. Because project management is all about finance management, is what I think. And I'm awesome in it, right? So these bank people, they were frightened, like they were shocked to see how much I can tell them about these things. So you have to be very careful. Whoever may come, your insurance should be standalone. Health insurance should be just health insurance. Term insurance should be term insurance. Don't mix that with any investment. Okay? Now, how much amount should I have the term insurance? See, term insurance means if you die, as a reasonable, responsible devotee parent, devotee earner, how you are going to help your family who is dependent on you for their spiritual life, for their everything, right? If they don't have finances, how will they do their spiritual life? There have been so many devotees, Sudhir Gopal Prabhu highlights. Don't take any emotional decision. Otherwise, your spiritual life will go for toss. Don't do that, right? So the important thing is term insurance should be of amount which you need for your financial independence. If the amount comes to be 3 crores, 5 crore, 10 crore, whatever it is, because today for me that amount may be 3 crores, 5 crores. But someone who is planning financial independence 10 years from now, 20 years, from now it will be 10 crore or 15 crore. So you should have term insurance of that amount. But the insurance companies may not give you term insurance of that amount because your income may not be that much, right? So as you grow, like you can take add-on terms. Now, one important thing. If you are already reaching, like for example, let's talk about 5 crores, right? If my income was such that I could easily have 5 crores of term insurance, and I had that, right? But I'm already reaching my financial independence. For 5 crores insurance, you will have to pay, I think, so around about 50,000 rupees per year to the term insurance people. But now if you already have 4 crores in your bank, right? And you are already there, then you don't have to pay 5 crore term insurance, 50,000. Just pay 10,000, take 1 crore term insurance. Stop that. Don't be over ambitious. Every penny is important, right? Did you all understand what I said? Right? Okay. Health insurance, you should all have in Corona period. Like I personally tell you, I had a basic health insurance of 10 lakhs, but 90 lakh on top of. Why? Because my cousin sister, she had a lung transplant. She is the only post-COVID lung transplant survivor in whole of Asia. And we spend more than 1 crore rupee, right? As devotees planning for 10 lakh plus 90 lakh, right? It will not cost you too much because that is an add-on thing, right? The basic, it will cost you around about 35,000. So depending on your, whatever you think, but as a doctor, I'll advise you, you should all at least have at least 5 lakh, but try to have 10 lakh, right? At least. In this COVID period, once this settles down and everything, you can stop that add-on, right? Depending on how the situation is. But COVID has drained many people, right? Personally, I know, like, my family is very big family. We were all able to, and the online donations and everything, but you have to be very careful. So insurance, any question on insurance? Prabhuji, anything you want to know? Yeah.
For engineers here.
Right.
When we are working in the companies, they provide the corporate health insurance.
Yeah.
Now, catch is that because that is there, so personal health insurance.
So good question. Very good question. Yes. Okay. So the question is, almost everyone here in Bangalore works at corporate and they provide you health insurance. So should we then take our personal insurance? See, term insurance is different thing and health insurance is different thing. And we are all planning for some kind of, as devotees, we want to serve Krishna, right? And in Corona, pre-Corona, post-Corona, our jobs are in material world are all hanging in air, right? So when the corporate will kick you out of job or when you will plan your own financial independence, right? That is why it is better to have your own health insurance.
Just to add it, like earlier Apollo Clinic, now SDFC also, they have a process actually that you can say that, okay, I have from our organization 5 lakhs of health insurance. And on top of it, right, like I would really like to another 10 lakhs or whatever.
Personal.
So that is also possible. Like from organization you are getting something, other personal. And then you can really tweak it later on, like if unfortunate incidents happen and that you are out of the company or anything like that. But still, this company might not be able to give you a good amount of health insurance, like as a floater for the family also. Then you can really have something on top of it as well. So that
Right.
a lot of insurance.
Yes. But the main thing is you should depend on your own personal insurance because, right?
Yes.
So Arjun Sakaprabhu, today's count is 40 for Gita course. So this is about insurance. I'm sorry, that was nothing for you, that 40 count, right? So any question on insurance? Now, yeah. What's your name?
Term insurance is better or life insurance is better?
Both are one, like you call, like...
If you pay the money, then life insurance, the LIC, they will put that investment and
Oh, that is nonsense. Don't take that.
It's different. Term insurance, you will get it only, right?
Life insurance.
Eventually. Yes.
On death.
You don't get anything. Otherwise that money will get wasted. Yeah.
Yes.
So in that case, why don't you choose that life insurance?
No. Okay, let me explain you. I'll explain you. Dekho, when you talk about, yes, this is a catch which Sripati Prabhu brought up. This is how they will create an illusion, in front of you. You will waste all your money, and this and that. You tell them, you have in your clear mind, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said this, I'll do. You use Anand Vrindavan Prabhu, if you listen to him, or you just have faith on me, right? And I'll tell you logically. See, what they do is, they say, oh, this investment is there, or you will get this money back, even if you not die after 15 years. If you calculate the rate of interest they will be giving you, it will be 4%. 4%. They are, as devotees, we are smart, right? And that is what I told you I did to these bankers who came. They were shocked, So this, the dual, what you call as? Endowment plan. So don't take that, because that the value of money will be negligent, like the interest you get. Even if you put in normal, that we will talk about, liquid funds, I don't know how much, debt funds, whatever, or equity funds, they'll give you good returns. So don't just take pure term insurance is what you can. If you die, you will get this money. That is, I don't know what you call, but that is what it is. Term insurance. ठीक है? श्रीपति के लिए, प्रभु के लिए. I don't, so don't get confused with the terms, right? I hope the logic is clear, right? Pure death insurance is what I want to say. Just take, nothing. Don't mix investments in that, right? And there are many lectures about it, that devotees should not depend on Krishna and no insurance, nothing. As grastas, you should have this in place. Health insurance and term insurance. You should have, right? Don't become like Sudhir Gopal Prabhuji was giving me these two examples of devotees. Shivanand Sen, whom Mahaprabhu made a responsible grasta, gave responsibility for, for taking everyone, specifically Vasudev Dutt, right? As a responsible grasta, he will take everyone. From where to where? From Mayapur to Puri. At the other point, there was an extreme of Srivas Thakur, right? He was also a grasta, but he was almost always with Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu would ask, how you are feeding? How your family is surviving? He said, if I don't have anything, I'll clap 3 times and I'll get what I want. So, I hope no one is Srivas Thakur here, right? Right? Because he is part of Panchatattva and all, right? No one is. So let's all plan. You should have your insurance, both health and term. Okay.
Even in that case, Mahaprabhu told Shivananda Sen to manage finances for him.
Yeah, Vasudev Datta, right?
Vasudev.
Yes. So it is very important for us to have these insurances. Any other devotee would like?
Yeah, bro, in term insurance also, you can maybe others can add points to it. In term insurance also, generally they give some plan, something like you take the term insurance for till up to 90 years kind of, and you pay all your premium in 9 years kind of. So the catch is, the 90 years premium you will actually end up paying 9 years. Say for example, you die in 5 years or in 9 years, you would have actually paid a big premium to them. So that's a big catch there. So better to actually take an annual term insurance. That's what Prabhu was also saying. Yeah. So take an annual term insurance of how much you can.
Our target is 5 crore rupees. If our target is financial independence 5 crore rupees, we have to take term insurance of that amount.
It's a very important point. Otherwise, if you extend it too much, let's say 70 years, 80 years, your premium will be too much. Right? So
you would have paid your lot of premium in their early age itself. You lose a lot of money and they gain a lot of money actually.
Yes.
Another thing I also heard was that term insurance is mainly for the breadwinner of the family.
Yes.
Right? The person who is earning the money, if he dies, the family should not be left alone.
Yes.
So for them, you are actually buying the term insurance. So generally, we buy a term insurance as long as we are planning to do our work. So once you do your work is completed, then your term insurance is not needed.
Yes. So no term insurance required for someone. If by chance your wife is not working, no need. Even if your wife is working but you are not financially dependent, like your whole financial planning is not dependent on her, no need for term insurance for her. No need for kids, nothing doing. Term insurance is totally dependent on your financial independence target.
When you say financial independence, the target say 5 crore, 2 crore. So it's like money in the bank or somewhere you have that hard cash or 5 crore.
Yeah.
But does that include the children's well-being education? That is separate, or this is?
That includes everything. Financial independence will include your see, you have this, right? So I'll go step by step. That will include everything. That includes everything. As of today, what all expenses, in future, what all, even your cousin marriages. Because in India, someone calls you your sister, daughter, your brother's daughter, you have to give them something, right? So you have, that will also be there. Everything. If today you are wearing this kurta, right? But tomorrow the fashion will change in ISKCON. So that will also be included there. That is known as lifestyle inflation. That will also be included. Yes. Yeah.
Like, see, one of our principles is no gambling, no?
Uh-huh.
No,
No, I'm just asking. My question is investing in stocks considered gambling? Because I think many of us do it. I think it is gambling and I do it also.
Right. So this is a very good question, right? You know.
Anand Vrindavan has said the same question.
Right. So yeah, the devotees who are financially mature and they know this, they know, it is not until unless you are doing it in a mature way. For example, now, Shri Gaur is a medical doctor, right? And more than registered medical doctors here in India, we have quacks, right? Now, and there is one more doctor here who is Google doctor, right? Now, if you go to a quack or Google to ask your medical questions, then who is at fault? Not the doctor. Please try to understand. If you think you are very smart to even, I have learned my lesson, I have not done, like this doctor example is applicable to me when it comes to finances. All my finances, investment are through financial advisors. Nothing doing yourself. So if you have, advisors, it is not gambling. For example, your business, right? Is it gambling? It's not gambling. Your job, So Srila Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj would say one thing, that this material world, specifically in Kali Yuga, is like a blanket. It's like a blanket. Kambal. And you take out the threads from that blanket, right? Our blanket, you remember old days? You take the threads out. And if you keep taking the thread out, what will remain? So, we have to be reasonable, right? We have to be practical. We have to, you have to do your devotional life, spiritual life, right? So, you have to understand, it can be pure gambling. If you are investing your money because on the basis of emails, some tips you get, like Deepak Prabhu we were discussing, you will keep endless tips from your friends if they come to know that you are investing. Oh, why you do invest in that? You don't do that. Never do that. That will be gambling, right? Don't do that. Just first thing is when you go to a doctor, you decide, right? Judiciously. You think कि किसके पास जाना है, कैसे जाना है. Similarly, when you decide your financial advisor, think. Don't come to me for your financial advisor. I am not going to tell whom I am using. You decide on your own. The way you will never ask me which doctor should I go. I can recommend one or two. But most of you should plan, because you should have your own financial advisor. You can ask your friends, relatives, whoever. Because, yeah. Right? Nishant.
One added point there was that, especially with stocks, we have day-to-day trading.
Right.
And these days with internet, it's so easy to access. And everybody is getting into that.
Even in India, over-the-counter medicines are easy. Right.
Yes, Guruji. So
OTC.
The index of involvement, unlike previous generation, is increasing big time, especially with youth and all.
Don't do that.
A lot of money.
You will lose a lot of money. That will be gambling. You will lose. You will not make any. I can tell you. Please don't do that. Daily training, these daily, whatever it is, don't do yourself, is my advice. It is my humble advice, otherwise you lose money and you will think this is all bogus. You know what I did? When I didn't know about this thing, long back, like 15, 20 years back, I invested some money in some Bajaj product, finance product. And after 5 years, I withdrew. And I gave them maybe 50,000, right? And when I withdrew, I got 45,000. So I thought this is all bogus. Until and unless I met Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. So if you do all these things on your own judgment and emotions, then you will have a wrong understanding, a wrong impression of all this, right? Please always approach a financial advisor.
And also, probably the answer to that also is that we have this systematic investment plan.
Right.
So where we are totally aloof from day-to-day, because you're not experts also.
We are moving from insurance to investment. So
Yeah.
if
Right.
this topic is covered, then maybe we can.
Right.
Prabhuji
So,
is that in it.
yeah. So in expenses, I have listed down what I have. These are my expenses. So you can see like in the expense tab, right? But you can all decide on your own. Like one is today, and I have written one from 25 onwards, where maybe I'm getting some, my kids are getting independence or something. Financially, they are not dependent on me. Something. So that is what you can decide for yourself, because your living expenses will then decide your total requirement of the value, which is the financial independence value. And this is just an introductory session to leaders, right? We will conduct many of these sessions. How many more minutes we have, Arishit Prabhuji?
We were half an hour late.
Prabhuji was also confused. 15 minutes, right? So, right. So what we will do, you all can call me anytime. Most of the time I'm free, right? Most of the time, not every time. If I don't pick up the phone, you have to leave message that this is this and this on WhatsApp, right? Otherwise I'll not know who you are, right? And it will be better if you tell me what you want, right? Not just this is this devotee. It will be better if you drop and tell me what you want, right? And then I'll call you back and we can decide one-to-one, we can sit, right? These things are to be done in one-to-one settings, right? It cannot be done in group settings. These are all very confidential things, very personal things, very individual, so yeah. So expenses. Now next thing is investment. Like where should we put our money, right? In India, most of the time the first thing we do, as soon as, even if we have any money in our bank account, we want to invest in property. 1 house, 2 house, 2 बच्चे हैं, उनके भी बच्चों के लिए 4 house, 8 house, 8 flats, lands, So that is not the best investment option, right? Now, please try to understand. Especially of taking loans. See, it is very clear that you should not be taking loans. I can explain you if you think you will save some tax. They are all fooling you. When you take loan, you lose money. But there are ways where, if it is also very individual, but general advice is don't take loans. As devotees, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu would not even sit with you if you tell him that you have some loans. First he'll say, go and close all your loans, right? So that thing is very clear, right? Yeah.
Is it okay to take loans in US? I heard that.
I don't know anything about US. I don't know anything about US. Right? Someone who has Vikram Chetan Prabhu or someone I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about US.
Very less interest rate in US. That is what people had an idea.
I know that in US, see, I am in medical industry, pharmaceutical industry. I know in US, the intake of antidepressant is highest. In US, the intake of antidepressant medication is highest, is what I can tell you. Because most of them, they live in debt. So, to be very frank, I don't know about US financial, like what you should invest in, I don't know. But what I knew, I share with you. Now, when it comes to investment, so investment in one basic thing which I wanted to share with you, higher the return, greater will be the risk. Less the return, less the risk. If you think you want to become Ambani overnight, then you can also become you are welcome to Vrindavan. Because we have many sadhus there sitting on road. We'll give them bhiksha, right? So yeah, you are all welcome to Vrindavan. So don't try to become a billionaire overnight. You can never. As a devotee, we should not, right? Then but you should diversify your investment. Diversification of investment is important, but how much? See, I have a house, my own house, right? but I don't consider it as an investment. Please try to listen carefully. I have my own house, and one more thing. I have not taken even 1 rupee from my parents. I have not taken 1 rupee from my parents, right? All the thing I have is my own. So they cannot drive me what you have to do. If you are financially dependent, they'll drive you crazy. I have not taken even 1 rupee. All the money what they had for me, I've given to my sister, brother, whatsoever, right? So the important thing is that diversification. But diversification in property, I would say, it's not advisable. Anand Vrindavan Prabhu says no, and we have records saying don't do that. Now, if you say I bought a land for 10,000 rupees there, agriculture land, and it's now 1 crore rupee. So, as a researcher, I am a medical doctor, but also a researcher. So we depend on statistics. We depend on many devotees here. They come and tell me, COVID का वो doctor अच्छा है. That Ayurvedic doctor, उसके 2 patients एकदम first class. No problem. I depend on stats, right? So you cannot take one event and decide, right? General understanding is land or property is not a good investment option. That too by taking loan, right? And I tell you that what do you call in Hindi, like kabja kar liya? In English, what do you call? Encroachment. Encroachment on land in India is very high, specifically on agricultural land. So don't try, right? Unless you yourself are very strong, right? You can be very strong in that area. So it's not a very good option. So you will have your own PFs, provident fund, and gratuity, which will come to you. So you consider that part of your debt funds, right? Now there is also an amount how much you should put in debt fund versus equity. Equity means like something like stocks, but in mutual fund, where you can. So in debt fund, there are 2 different things: debt fund and equity in a larger umbrella. For debt fund will give you a return of maybe 7%. You also call that as a liquid fund, 6 to 7%. Debt fund will not go too high and too low. When the market goes too high, is everyone aware of basic things like market and all this, right? The stock market, right? When it goes too high or too low, the debt fund will not go too up and too down, while the equity funds will go up and down. But if you have some event in your life where you need some money, this is, for example, your daughter's marriage is coming 2 years from now, and you have decided you will invest 20 lakhs. Right? Your expenses will be 20 lakhs. Then put that 20 lakh in debt fund 3 years from the time of the event. Understood? I'm repeating again. If you have a major event coming, the amount of money you need for that event, you have to put that amount into a debt fund. Don't think that market will go high and all this. Please don't do that. You have to, the most important thing we have to do is our bhajan, our book reading, our preaching. You will not be able to do if you try all these things, Just follow the basic philosophy, right? Any milestone, invest that amount in debt fund. Other, you can invest in equity. Now in equity, there are 2 things, mutual fund and stocks, right? So I would say, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu would say, as devotees, we should invest all the money in mutual funds. Mutual funds are stable. On an average, they can give you. I don't remember what Anand Vrindavan Prabhu said about the return specifically, the percentage of return. I, for myself, have considered 12%. Some devotees can consider 15% or 9%, whatever. I, for myself, have considered 12%. It also, now mutual fund are not secure from the ups and downs of market. Mutual fund will go up and down with the market. So don't think that your money is secure there. Secure in a sense for a event, milestone event. For milestone event of your life, you have to invest in debt fund or liquid fund. Mutual fund also will almost go, not to that extent as the stock may go, an individual stock may go. But mutual fund also goes up and down, right? In Corona period, and there is important thing, when the market is down, That is the time of buying, not selling. Then invest money. That is the good time. For that, now you will say, I don't have money. So keep investing some amount in liquid fund for those opportunities. Because those opportunities comes every 6 months. When market will go down, that is the time. Don't take out your money. Invest money. Take out money from your debt fund, because as I told you, debt fund, if it is 7%, it will go to 6%. But your equity, if it was like, for example, it was 15, it may go down to 10. And this is the time when you transfer your money from debt fund to equity fund, right? I know it is maybe heavy for someone who is hearing for the first time. So this is just an introductory session. Gold, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu says no for gold. I would say you can buy only enough what you think will require for your children's marriage, right? Modi ji aa gaye hain, everything is in white, even you are buying coconut in white. So I would personally advise buy gold in white. Don't venture in, because most of devotees, they are in service, they don't have black money. So don't venture out and don't convert your white money into black money. Pay some tax. See, if you have bought gold, and don't buy ornaments, buy a hard gold, a biscuit or a coin or whatever. Don't buy ornaments for your child who is just 10 years old, because the fashion will change, right? Yes, don't look at brahmacharis. Fashion will change. Fashion will change, and this will have no value. And when you sell it, you have to give the making charges, right? So, but if you buy a hard white money gold, then you don't have to pay extra tax. You can buy a jewelry, you don't have to pay extra tax. What you have to pay is just the making charges, right? My personal advice would be buy gold in white and don't buy ornaments. Until you want to wear, then you definitely have to buy. But otherwise you should. Gold bonds are also good. Yeah, Prabhuji is saying. So yeah. So when it comes to fixed deposits, better return would be in mutual fund, liquid funds, in debt funds, better than fixed deposits. And all these things are 100% safe. Don't think. But you have to have a financial, like I myself have done a financial course. Being a doctor, you may be thinking how much he knows about finances. I've done a course, because I knew my future will depend on this. I've done a course. It costed me 15,000-20,000 something, but I did a course to understand on all these things. That is why I'm able to, unless you're confident that what is happening with the market and all, because our spiritual life, we are not Shrivas Thakur, right? We can be carried away by one or two emotions. If some devotee doesn't give you due respect, right, then we are. So these finances are really going to, so be reasonable, right? Have smart goals. Then Sudhir Gopal Prabhu, did I miss on something? Do you want to? Right? So investment is this. Then cousin marriages, I've already told. Does anyone has any question? And then there is this one thing which I told. Life is so I will, when I plan my finances. 2 minutes. When I plan my finances, I will add the inflation. I will add the yearly inflation. So I have planned for next. And you should plan reasonable for until 90 years, right? That is reasonable. And you should not think that how much you are going to give to your kids. Let your kids be independent. Don't drag yourself कि उसको ये हो जाएगा तो ये and this, like you should be mature devotees. You, until unless they are dependent on you, you cannot be immature. You should do every planning, whatever it is. Even if you think you have to send him or her to US, you have to plan. Like if you see it, every devotee is a different individual. They have different lifestyle, right? You cannot think what he or she is doing, right? Can you plan like Kartikeya Prabhu? I can never, right? So, right? So every devotee is totally different, right? So,
like as we do in spirituality also, okay, only on specific day, after 3 months, I will start chanting 32 rounds or 64 rounds. Like yes, we can have those big plans. I don't know whatever Lord will decide at that point of time. But it's always better to have regular incremental investment, in terms of an SIP or whatever it is. So let's not depend that, okay, whenever I get my year-end bonus, that will be my yearly investment. No.
No. Yeah.
So that's why please do, right, invest regularly. Right, in terms of an SIP, so that, and it should be done. Of course, there are different philosophies also. It should be done at the beginning of the month or end of the month.
Yes. And I don't go with one advisor. I don't go even, I have financial advisors, but I don't have just one financial advisor. Even today, I have 3 financial advisors. All my money is with different financial advisors, right? And it is in different portfolios. Personally, I told I have my house, but that is not my investment, right? Then I too have gold, enough gold for, what we consider for marriage, not for investment, right? And then, what did I tell?
What about Sukanya Samriddhi?
Huh?
What about Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana? Is it good?
What is that? Sukanya Samriddhi?
Post office government scheme where interest rates are on 8-9% more than 3 years.
I don't know about this. I don't. See, for specific things you discuss with me, I can help you out. I'll help you out to how you should calculate. What you have to do is, don't go on the name of the yojana or the scheme. You have to go on the percentage return it is giving to you. That is basic thing. Right. And better it is to go for SIP. Whenever you are getting an annual bonus, then lump sum amount you invest in debt fund. When the market goes down, you put it in the market. ठीक है?
What is the ideal age which you would suggest for entering into retirement planning?
See, that depends on an individual. See, if you, for example, they are devotees from day one, if they are earning 1 crore rupee per year, there are other devotees who are earning 2 lakh rupees, right? So for them, everyone will have to do their own individual financial independence planning. The age which is allowing you to be financially independent, you become financially independent.
At the same time, like as you said at the very beginning, there has to be a goal.
Yes.
There has to be a fixed goal. And the sooner the better.
Yes.
That's the principle.
Yeah. Simple living, high thinking, and yes, undoubtedly sooner the better.
One theory probably is that
Everybody retires and then if we retire, our donation will reduce.
Don't think, yeah, very good question. Yes. So very good question asked by Prabhuji. Yes. So what Prabhuji is asking, very important question for Grahasthas. Yes. I got your question. So Prabhuji is asking that if we retire, so for example, I may be earning 1 crore rupee per year. I am retiring. I could have given 1 crore rupee to Harishet Prabhu. But you have to ask your authority. Do they want? See, it is very clear in what you want and what you think, right? ISKCON as an institution need more leaders, right? We don't have problem with money. Bandhu Mata Prabhu, you wants to say something? So that is important thing. Donation. Don't think about donation. You are giving your life. That is what Harishet Prabhu wants more than your donation. Which is why I told, when he is sending message, don't get carried away, right? And he agrees to that, right? He agrees to that. He needs you. He needs your time. He needs your skills more than your money, right? Shripati Prabhu.
In terms of choosing this financial advisor, if I go to SBI, this guy will suggest only the SBI mutual.
Don't go to SBI.
For example, if I go to HDFC, he will suggest. So how we can choose that right financial advisor?
Right. See, one devotee is Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. He works in Bombay stock, right? His son is also a financial advisor now. They also run, right? And there are others, like if your friends or your relatives, see, I will not go into this. I don't want to share mine because, if the devotee is not mature, even for one day, I don't want to spoil my chanting. If you call me and tell that I invested with that person this much and now today my money is this much, I'll say, why did I share? So better, like Deepak Prabhu and I discussed the other day, right? Better, like Anand Vrindavan Prabhu is universal, right? You all can go to him. He does in mutual fund, I think so only, not in stocks, right? So he will do in mutual fund. So he's there. he's there. But then you can also find others. Right? What I am doing is my stock investment. I also invest in stock, but stock is not in one stock. He has invested in 45 stocks. Okay, so it's as good as mutual fund, right? So
Portfolio management.
yes, portfolio management services, right? So, and you have to be careful in how much money you give. There is one is lump sum charges, and then one is they take you on your profit also. So you have to decide for yourself. Better what I have invested, I don't give him any money on the profits, and I have a separate person for mutual funds, and I have one more person for which I'm investing minimal money on stocks. He's very well known in the market. So there are many well-known people in the market also, but their minimal investment limit may be high, like Agarwal, like Sundar, Motilal Oswal, and others. They are very famous, but their minimum limit of investment is high. But I don't give guarantee on their See, no one can give. I would request all of you to try to understand these whole things very well for yourselves. I can recommend you courses. They are I think so. The name is Vikas Malhotra. He's a Vikas, I think so. I can share the name in this. He runs. He will not advise you stocks. He will not advise you anything. He will coach you. He will train you on the principles of finances. I did a course. That time it was 15 or 20,000. So better. ठीक है. Hare Krishna. Thanks all of you. All of you can go. Mata, you can.
Everyone will not be so good in giving classes, no, Prabhu. So that those devotees, they can earn and give us and do this service.
See, this question should go to your Bhakti Vriksha leader or your sector. This is not of finance. This is more of, like Mata is saying, someone is not good in preaching or these things. So should they continue earning rather than taking full time or something? So that question is, something should go to your Guru Maharaj or his representative or something. I started my talk by saying it was my Guru Maharaj who wanted me, right? So you have to be very mature also in taking this decision. You should go to your counselor. You should go to someone who is guiding you, mature devotee.
Ramesh Prabhu's question, I think, was left unanswered, no? About if you can earn money and then provide.
I think so. I did answer that.
At least the online people. No, that's all. We'll have Kirtan now. So we heartily thank Sri Gaur Prabhu for giving this wonderful session on the financial planning and financial independence. So let's chant Hare Krishna mantra for him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as leaders, we don't mess up anybody's life by giving financial advice. So we go to the proper people to take advice. So with all this thing, I hope you all had a nourishing program and some practical aspects in planning our life and also to guide people. So now we will have a nice kirtan to end our today's half a day of leaders meet, and then we'll have lunch prasadam.
श्री श्री गांधी गिरधारी श्रीमन महाप्रभु की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी सिंह भगवान की जय, श्री पंचती की जय जय।
I'll play Mridanga very lightly.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमः। सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंद जय चैतन्य आनंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंद चैतन्य हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama निताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य BBT फाउंडर आचार्य सेवियर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस AC भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की व्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की नवदीप मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.